Zimmerman. He's going to hold this to the finish.
And welcome to CVR World Cup Vancouver, Day 2. I'm Beth York.
And I'm Jesper Anker. No, actually, I'm Chris Haskell. Jesper will be joining us shortly. We're here at the Burnaby Velodrome at Harry Jerome Sports Center, just minutes away from downtown Vancouver. In fact, you can see the beautiful city skyline just in the distance across the water. It's beautiful. This Canadian velodrome, an inflatable velodrome, seriously. Now, it's not like an inflatable jump house where you could, although we could maybe try some of that. But it's one of the only velodromes in Canada, only one of 3, and it's the only indoor one in the entire Northwest. It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing. And we're here for Day 2 for stages 3, 4, and 5 in this pro esports cycling race. And the points winner at the end of stage 5 will take home $10,000.
That number is mind-boggling to me. $10,000 to the winner of this, and huge payouts all the way down to the last rider. This is why you want to watch. Someone in just a little bit is going to win $10,000. I know, mind-blowing, right? So the Burnaby Velodrome is actually buzzing with excitement. Everyone is getting lined up here. They're on their trainers. The riders are really focused and really serious, and maybe in a way we haven't seen.
Yeah, it's almost kind of eerily quiet.
It is a little bit eerily quiet. Okay, so they're on their Cyclops trainers. They're getting set up. They're warming up because this first race is going to be a big one. This is maybe one of the best, if not the best, pro esports cycling event on the planet. Now, yesterday, there were some really cool things that happened. And we're going to talk about those in just a minute. But I think that it would be helpful for folks to understand how we got to this point, why these 10 riders, and what's the process to get here, because somebody else is going to want to win $10,000.
That's right. Well, these guys participated in a league, and it's a pro esports league, and they competed across 8 global zones. So the whole entire world, and all the riders stream their their races every week, and it was quite amazing to see all these guys put everything in. And now all of the riders were leveled by ability, and the A riders, the winners of the A rider in their global zone, advances, and that's who on the trainers. And what's been wonderful on CycleView.tv is that fans help grow the prize pool.
Yes, they do. They can always contribute by cheering for their favorite riders on CycleView.tv, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Okay, so we're going to start with stage 3 today. Yesterday, we had 2 different stages, and oh my goodness, they were exciting. But if you were, by the way, if you were in one of these leagues, or even if you win one of these, there's incredible swag.
I have some I'd like to show because it's so cool. They received, all of this swag is here. Here we go. We got socks, we've got Garneau.
We got to fold our laundry, folks. We got to get to
that. No, here we go. The CVR World Cup tees from Garneau.
Hey, it's my size.
And that's one of the winner jerseys that the riders will get. And also, this is the jersey that comes along with that $10,000 check. Isn't that sharp?
The biggest donation today, by the way, will receive a photo, not this jersey, will receive a photo of me wearing this jersey.
Oh, boy.
And I believe this is a child's extra medium.
An extra medium. That's right. That's right. But let's bring it up to today. Yesterday, these guys competed in stage 1 and 2. First, it was an individual time trial, and then the second one was just this 5-point line. It really kind of introduced the new format. So today they're bringing things in that they didn't have yesterday, the benefit of knowing yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's get you caught up on what you missed yesterday with a short recap. This is your CVR Vancouver Men's Day 1 update. 8 Global Zone winners and 2 invitees would face off in Stage 1, the Race of Truth. The individual time trial would go to Lionel Vujasin from Belgium and earn him 160 points into the second stage. But multi-time world champion Scotty Weiss would have something to say about it. The first sprint line was a little more than a kilometer after the start, and guns were blazing from the start. Playing the villain on the day, Steve Young would try to get away with it, but he would be pulled back ultimately by Vujasin. As the race developed, there were a couple of heroic attempts, including Una Gravdal trying to get away off the front, marked very closely by the two-team draft riders. They were riding for Greg Leo today without doubt. Having two teammates qualify, would they be able to get him the victory? Only time would tell. This man had a different idea. Scotty Weiss and Joachim Plaumers would troll the front of the race trying to get a group off the front. As they hit the first big sprint near the end, all of the work being done emblazoned on the face of the riders. On the line at CVR World Cup Vancouver, $10,000. And though the second sprint point was only a 1x multiplier, it turned out to be a big difference for Gravdal. As they approached the second sprint point, Gravdal would try to get the group broken apart. A little gap forms, but they all managed to pull it back together, his hard work wearing out the riders around him. But despite his work, a mechanic would get Gravdal off the back. Unfortunately, and Ikebe, who missed the big move at the beginning, would be a non-factor. Gravdal would eventually recover the 10 seconds he'd lost, get back in the group with Greg Leo and the others, just as they were getting ready to sprint for this big third position. Scott Cunningham would do the work for his team draft to pull them back to a little group that got off the front just in time for the big sprint, lining out Greg Leo. You see Gravdal ready to go in that group as they all move through, swamped. But in the end, Lionel Vujasin and Greg Leo would pound it out, but Steve Young would come around just at the very end. The point still going to Leo, his wheel crossing first. The struggle is real. Sweat on the floor. Scott Cunningham playing the role of domestique for Team Draft. He tries to keep Greg Leo in the mix as they come close to the big penultimate sprint. Everyone knows they're going to get set up for it. Gravdal tries to get away. The Scotsman Gavin Dempster tries an escape route of his own, but to no avail. It was Vujasin with a poorly conceived but unbelievably well-timed sprint for the 20 points available. Just putting a little bit more in the bank, he would be the first to cross the intermediate sprint line found here at the crosswalk, and he would get those points. The group comes back together. As points continued to be doled out, there were those that were like, hey, I don't have any, including Gravdal. With 7K to go, he decided he would try to escape. But playing his domestique role, Scott Cunningham pulls him back. No points for you. And as they rounded the corner for the final sprint, 100 points on the line. Listing hard to starboard, it was Scott Cunningham with the big push. All he needed to do was create separation for his teammates. Would it be enough? Joachim Plaumers, Greg Leo come around him as he gives up the ghost. And Scotty Weiss very quietly places himself in that second position. James Phillips moves up the outside trying to make it happen. Falling back is Steve Young, who was thought to be an odds-on favorite to win this final sprint, but where'd Greg Leo go? He launches way before the sprint line. Everyone else has to react. Plaumers, Young, and Dempster try to catch on, but it's too late. Scotty Weiss and Steve Young would manage to fill out the podium in this unbelievable sprint finish. But it was Greg Leo on the day who made it happen, taking those points. Raise that skinny little wrist, my man. You just took all the points at the end of Stage 2. Congratulations to all the racers. We'll see you again. This has been your CVR World Cup Report. I'm Chris Haskell.
He is Chris Haskell, and I'm Beth York. So the riders are warming up, and we are just about a little over 5 minutes to the gate drop. But let's just zoom out for a little bit and talk about the whole 5 stages and the point lines, because this is a whole new format for CVR World Cup. In fact, it's a whole new format for racing in a virtual world. Individual point lines and, racking up points rather than just watching for a finish. This has been so exciting. So we talked about 5 stages.
We're doing 5 stages here, and the first stage yesterday was It Begins With Truth, and that is a traditional individual time trial. They all started together, but there was no drafting bonus, 11.5 kilometers.
And then the Endurance Eliminator, which followed that time trial, and people had to sprint for point lines after doing an incredible effort on that first It Began With Truth with the threshold effort there. And then today we're going to start off with Stage 3 Sky's End, which is on the London Loop, and that includes a climb on Box Hill. So this is going to be a climbing race.
It's Box Hill is a swear word to some of these guys, but then Fast and the Furious, they're going to be 10 point lines. This thing is going to be unbelievably crazy.
It's a little bit scary, I have to admit. And then after after all of that, the 5th stage we'll see today is Skies Beginning, which is the reverse London loop, available 480 points. There are so many points up for grabs today. I mean, coming into it from yesterday, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and we're going to see some of that anything can happen because that's the way it's going to work.
This is the way it's work.
No kidding.
And the winner with the most points.
Yep.
$10,000.
So it's not necessarily the winner of the race. You could probably finish second all day long and maybe come away with the points.
That's right. And mathematically, yesterday's leader can lose a lot of points, and someone who's maybe 6th, 7th, 8th can actually mathematically take more points.
Which points you go for, which you can test, that is what determines really how you're going to be able to survive this thing, because the guys mentioned last night, they were tuckered out. There was no party at the hotel last night. They were all in full recovery mode because there's $10,000 on the line, Beth.
Yeah, that is no joke. Now, the riders are warming up at their stations, and we talked a little bit yesterday about each of these riders, so maybe we could reintroduce the riders and then talk about the points and the individual
Absolutely. And we got to be a little bit delicate, right? I mean, this is kind of a love story that we have. Look what you made me do. I'm sorry. Let's go straight into that right now.
Okay, so we'll get that queued up. So we have the point lines, and here we go.
Okay, so we're going to begin with stage 3 today, men's stage 3. Excuse me, Gavin Dempster is our guy on the line today. He's going to do great work, and he was fabulous yesterday working for his team draft. Then this guy,
Phillips.
James Phillips. He really had some nice sprints there, but he was outpaced just a couple of times. I think he's going to be able to get away today. I think stage 4 is his stage.
And then Sadeo Akabe.
Oh, my goodness, the Akabe shuffle. He ended up getting trimmed in stage 2 yesterday, but he's not going to let that happen today, and he's a really, really good climber. Okay, this guy, Lionel Vujasin.
Yes, the Rafa Cycling Cup 3-time Illinois cyclocross champion. He was on fire yesterday,
yes,
so he's going to bring some more.
Yuna Kravdal.
Team PTZ. He really had a little bit of a situation yesterday, fought back hard, and he has a lot. He's one to watch today, I think.
The man has become a villain. Steve Young kissing those pythons right there. He has been breaking hearts all over the place. Can he win this today? Maybe so.
And, of course, Greg Leo with those shades, team draft.
No kidding. You got to check out what he's got more costume changes than Lady Gaga.
He does. And then, of course, Scotty Weiss really showing his stripes, his championship stripes there. Double
wearing
masters.
the Rick Woods jersey, honoring his friend. And you've seen the video here. We love that guy.
And Scott Cunningham, team draft. They executed such a plan yesterday. They said it went according to plan, and he worked hard for his teammates.
He has become the super domestique. Will that change today? Maybe so. Joachim Ploumers.
Team X, Zwift national Netherlands champion. No newcomer here to CVR World Cup. Always fun to watch.
Did you just call him old, Beth?
I said he's not a newcomer.
Oh, boy. He's a rider of a certain vintage?
No, I don't say those words. That's your line.
Exactly.
And here are your Global Zone winners, and these are all the folks that earned their way to be racing here today. Now, these guys are going to have to actually do a little bit of self-assessment, Chris.
Yes, they are.
They're going to have to talk
about
little self-check, because
it's healthy.
It is healthy. Why don't we take a closer look at all the point lines?
Okay. Yeah, you want to see the point lines as they're going to go down today, and here's how it's going to work. So we mentioned the 5 stages just a moment ago.
Yep.
This is really important. It begins with truth. It went kind of exactly how we thought it would yesterday. That's exactly right. And then the endurance eliminator, that was a little bit more interesting. I don't think we expected Vujasin to have as much success as he did. We don't see him necessarily as a sprinter, but Greg Leo really shining at the end, showing that he's competing for that top
And I think we're about
spot.
30 seconds to the gate drop here for Skies End. So that's where we're going to probably drop into the gate here in a little bit here. But we've got Skies End, Fast and Furious.
This is the one you're going to want to see today.
This is going to be very exciting. This is going to be crazy because the points are just going to be changing throughout. You can grab a few points, 180, 10 times point, 8 times points.
Yes.
And the math is going to be a little bit tricky to follow, but they're going to see that on their screen. All of the riders have an overlay for all of these points lines.
And it looks like this.
Yes. And we call that a plot and whisker. Is that
plot? It's a box and whisker plot.
Box and whisker plot. You learn something new every day. But the winner with the most points at the end of the stages today will take home $10,000.
Okay, so real quick, snap here. This event is going to, by the way, the first sprint point is going to be maybe the most exciting one.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to come to the top of this hill first today? Who's going to take the points at the top of the hill? I want a prediction.
Oh, at the top of the hill. You know, not the first one. Okay, not the first one. The top of the hill. Well, I know Scotty can climb.
Yes, he can.
Scotty can climb, but he's not the only climber in the group here that I've seen.
Right.
I know Greg Leo had a massive sprint yesterday,
yep.
but we're going to see. But I'm gonna call Scotty or Greg. Go.
Okay. Gate is going to drop, and it's going to start right now. Explosive, just like the space shuttle. The launch of the rockets right here. They're going to launch straight out of the gates. All of the fuel. I mean, they burn 90% of their fuel in the first 30 seconds of those rocket launches. Steve Young trying to make sure that he's not ejected off the back. He is not a disposable booster here. Joachim Plaumer's making sure that he's also in that group. Scott Cunningham has got to stay close here. Will he be at the top of the climb with this guy? Maybe not, but it's his job to get him to the top of the climb. Ikebe with a really good spin up there, making sure that he is in the group, and of course Gavin Dempster making that happen. But Vujasin kicks it again. Second stage of this rocket, trying to get escape velocity into low Earth orbit. Vujasin may be able to do that. Ikebe in that second position. Plaumer's going to chase him down. He's got all of this right at this gate. He wants to see if he can get some folks to go with him. You don't want 10 guys at the top of the climb to contend with. You want 1 or 2. And Vujasin's trying to get away from Scotty Weiss right now. Very, very clever. He comes across that first point. There was no sprint, big sprint right there. It's going to be just a hair later. Now, as they kick it into gear, it looks like everyone's backing off there. It was all about the points to that first line.
Right, and yesterday, that first banner was worth more points than today.
Yes,
so it was interesting to see who maybe held back and said, I'm not going to work as hard to get that first point and maybe save it for Box Hill. But you can't get left behind because the separation can happen immediately.
And Vujasin is really racing this like a normal, say, Grand Tour green jersey type person. He's not trying to just escape from the group. He's not trying to be that overall guy, although he very well could be in this points race. He's actually just trying to take the points that he thinks he's capable of taking. It really, really backs off here now. The group is going to come all back together. You see our guy right there, Jesper Anker. He's hanging out, watching it happen right there, maybe giving a little bit of advice to Plaumers. Okay, Gavin Dempster and Gravdal right there is actually just getting a little bit of a push, seeing if anybody wants to come with him. Scotty is going to make sure that he is there as well. Greg Leo not far behind. Anybody in a spot of bother at this point? Maybe Gavin Dempster, the furthest down the list, but he's going to be able to slide right back in, close that gap at the end. Again, his job may appear to be a little bit different. Let's talk about the dynamic there.
Yeah.
Greg Leo with the most points on his team. Does this change the role for Dempster and for Cunningham?
Well, yeah, they did say at the end of yesterday's race that their tactics played out as they had planned. And what we saw there was at one of the point lines, Dempster did make a big break, right? Saw if anyone would chase, if the pack actually responded. The pack didn't respond, but he did his job and hammered off the front and built a little bit of a distant separation there. We saw Scott Cunningham do his job and help give a good lead out for Scott Cunningham on his sprints. So I think that they're going according to plan. So if I see anybody looking relaxed or not digging in, I just have to assume that's part of Team Giraffe's plan. And
their evil plan?
Their evil plan. And it's probably a good plan if it's that evil, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, one of the things, too, that we've talked about as racers, I'm also racing, is that you can have all the tactics that you want, but you still have to respond to other people's tactics, right?
Yes.
So you know, surprises can happen, and I'm sure they have a plan B. So as we look at Lionel.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you make a really good point here about responding to tactics. In other games, we call that aggro, right? If you have aggro, it means that people are focusing you, that they have to be aggressive around you because they're worried about you, right? You're getting all of the attention. And right now, Vujasin has got aggro.
Well, and actually, there's actually a bonus to the riders. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that, but there's a bonus to the riders of $1,000 for who is really the most aggressive.
Exactly.
So we're going to see some people try to mix it up. With all these point lines, we're going to see the dynamics change. And our next one is that subway descent before you hit Box Hill. And that one is actually 2 times points. And Box Hill, the top of Box Hill, is 4 times points. So between now and the top of Box Hill, there's an opportunity to grab 6 times points, which is 120 for the people for first place, if you can grab all those points. Right now here you can see in the telemetry how the points are stacking up for each of the stages so far. And this is live. This is on cycleview.tv. So if you want to follow the telemetry all the time, even if we're talking, you can just bring up cycleview.tv and you can have a look here at the live telemetry. So you can see all 10 of them are together, and on their screen it will give them the readout of when they get to that next point line, which is that subway descent. And that might be a big sprint, but it'll be interesting to see who does instigate that, and it's probably going to be one of the people who's not a climber, because they don't need to save for the climb.
It's absolutely true. Hey, and if you're the first time here, if you're watching on Facebook and we're watching the chat there, if you're watching on Mixer or you're even on my MySpace channel, click that follow. Actually, I don't know what we call it on MySpace. You can send me a friend request or whatever on MySpace. But we've got Lily, who is Gavin.
Here it goes. Look at this.
There
Kicking it off. Lionel at the front there. Gravdal right behind. Digging in. You can hear those trainers spinning up. Look at Scott Cunningham. He's just digging in veins out of his head. This is Lionel Vujasen. This is just one of these little kickers right here. Yeah, it is. This is just one of those little kickers that happens on this London course, and it's just a little 4% rise. It's short, but if you get caught flat-footed here,
and look at Scotty doing another big push off the front here. He sees those guys start to ease up and takes advantage of that. He is just nasty some days. You, Scotty Weiss, you're going to get a timeout, buddy. That's right, no juice box for you. And you see Cunningham really focused right now. When you get that many veins and wrinkles in a head, you either are about to use your magic. We're talking about you, 11, to maybe make your nose bleed there, or there we go. He's just chilling out now. He's got to get some. Oh, hello, what? No, this got to. Sorry, we want to put out an adult warning right now. Scott Cunningham bringing out the sexy. That's dangerous stuff. And all of a sudden, our followers went up by 10,000.
So, so that was a really a nice move by Scotty, right? We saw a little bit of attacks, right? And then he kind of waited, bided his time, stuck with the group. And then when they started to settle back, he kind of launched another one. So there's these opportunities when you're responding to what's happening on the road. You're maybe not instigating the attack, but you're using that opportunity of the previous move to plot your own. Kibe right here in the
shuffle.
group.
Okay, let's talk about a little bit about his riding style, because it's certainly gotten a lot of attention, right? The Cycling Hub folks invented the Kibe shuffle, which is a dance. Hey, it may end up in Fortnite.
Coined it.
They coined it.
Kibe invented it.
He invented it. They coined it. But why is he doing it? And it's intentional. It's not a bad bike fit.
Well, so everyone sort of has their own riding style, but he tends to use the momentum in the rock back and forth to kind of carry the power back around. And for some folks, they might think that's maybe not as efficient, but if it works for you, and we showed that it works for him.
It does, and he is using a little bit more energy when he does it. That's quantifiable. But if you can get the power out of it and you can sustain it, it's like standing the entire time of a climb. People say, "Oh, well, that's really inefficient." But there are folks like Contador who can do it to perfection. Maybe it's the tainted cheek meat, but probably in this case. And
a little bit here. Gravdal the front, 9.
They're getting close to this. They're inside 300 meters. There it is.
Subway.
Gravdal going to jump out in front and going to try to take those subway points right now. Plowmer's chasing him. Plowmer's always near the front. Greg Leo with a chance maybe to come around him. Akibe in a great spot here. He wants some points today, and then they get swamped. Plowmer's, Vujasen coming around there. Weiss, Phillips still in the top group there. It looks like Weiss is going to be able to. They've got to make a hard left turn here and come around. Weiss still in that great spot, but Leo takes over. Oh my goodness, who's going to get those points? We'll find out in just a minute. They're still continuing to push hard here, maybe easing up now just a little bit.
Right.
We'll get a replay of that perhaps in just a second and find out who ended up taking those points. Wow. Okay, so we see right there in the top of the screen, and the climb's about to start happening. We don't want to get too far away from it, but we would like to take a look at that replay so we can get a sense of who may have gotten those points. Here's the way it went down. They were coming around. What you'll see here, it's the platform that we're concerned about here, and it's Gravdal, the PTZ rider, with the lead out. But look who comes around. Akibe.
And it's right
contesting.
and slow it down. It looks like it was Scotty, maybe.
Scotty got himself
Scotty.
some points here.
Yeah.
That changes some things for the other riders on the course here because he's a well-known climber. They maybe wanted to steal some of those and get those 2 times points.
No, he said, you're not taking them, and I think he's still going to try to fight, obviously, for that, get that good chance on the climb.
Oh, boy.
Turning the corner here, up to Box Hill, you can see the line on the road right there. On that's the time segment part here within the game. But 4 times points, just under 3,000 meters to go. And this is like a 6.5-minute effort.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard. You've not seen anything so far in the race. It's gonna be as difficult as this. Greg Leo focused completely, trying to get in the zone for this. He had a magnificent performance yesterday, but he definitely does not want to get dropped like a bad habit on this climb. None of these guys do. No one wants to get dropped, but somebody is going to. Who's it going to be? Gravdahl at the back of the group, 1 second off. He may already be a casualty of that sprint right there. He went for those points, and now he's trying to chase on to the group. Unfortunately, he's going down like a sleeping baby. There's Phillips right now just tapping out. He's got a different kit on today. No, that's the same kit as he had yesterday, James Phillips. He is in probably the wrong end of this little train here. You don't want to be the caboose, and they're
Scotty's
disconnected.
Coming a little bit here.
Oh, yeah, Scotty has turned the screws a little bit. He's out of the saddle here. All of the power that you see is real live power because every single one of these riders has trainers and their weight quantified perfectly so that the game responds the right way. He is this strong to sit on the front. 7.1 watts per kilo. And right on his tail, Lionel Vujasin. Not far behind, Joachim Plommers, who has really always been present today, right? He's like the kid's sister who just won't go away. He's always there. He's like, oh, it's you, Plommers.
And you know, when we talk about these watts per kilograms, if you're not a cyclist and if you're new to this platform, all of these riders have been weighed in, and what they're doing is the game, the CycleOps Smart Trainer is reading the power that they're putting into the pedals in the game, and it's calculating the amount of power per kilogram of body weight.
Yes.
And so that's what they're saying. So that's changing their speed through the game. So when we see Scotty doing 7.1 off the front, all these other guys have to react to that. And the gaps right now are 1 or 2 seconds. I don't think that's enough to break it up with this strong field, but it is enough to make maybe someone work harder than they were prepared to work at that particular time.
If you were a rocket, that would be your thrust to weight ratio, right? You've got all this thrust versus your weight. That's the important piece.
You can see a 7-second gap right now, so I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But Scotty, Lionel, and Joachim there, 8 seconds on the chase group, and that could open up if they keep pressing on it. And because we don't have the same in the chase pack, you don't have the same aerodynamic benefit on the hill you see on the flat. So you can't necessarily get that acceleration of ramping up the speed in a chase pack the way you can on the flat part of the roads here. And 7.3, that's not backing down here. That the 3 of those off the front doing 7. Now down to 6, but that's
no kidding.
it's still a hard effort. But there are so many points on the line. 4 times points. If we're talking 4 times points on this, that's significant.
No kidding. Look at it right now. Scott Cunningham on the front of that chase group, helping his guy, giving, even though it's a tiny draft, giving his guy, Greg Leo, just a little bit of draft, trying to get him up the hill. He wants to get him as many points as possible. And here's the math question for you. How many points are available to the 4th place person at the top of this hill? How much will that help Greg Leo?
So 4th place at the top of this hill is 44 points.
Okay, top place is 80. So they want to get Greg Leo as many points as they can to keep him as high in the standings as they can.
They can, and they also want to take away points from some of the other folks. So it's not just his placement, but it's also the placement of who is around him. So if they can stay ahead as a group, that will help significantly on these higher point multipliers. Now look at Scott Cunningham. He is working so hard. He's doing his job. He's not backing down. But I know what that feels like, being 13 seconds back. We all know I know what that feels like. It is, you're just digging in. You can see on the bottom of the screen the reds and the yellows. That is his heart rate effort. That is him working so hard to his effort. The blue's a little bit easier, but this is max effort.
Oh my goodness. He is burying himself for his teammate. This is a heroic effort if you've ever seen one. That is a pain face that not even a mother could love. My goodness, it's stunning.
Right, and we've got Vujasin, Weiss, and Plausmers all 12, 15 seconds up the road here. So they've got a big. What can happen, too, at the top of this climb is there are points on the backside of the climb. So once these guys start going downhill, if these guys aren't coming up, that gap stretches out even further. And then they're going to take away the opportunity for those points. There's another one at the bottom of the subway again when you go back in. So you're not just fighting for the points here on Box Hill. You're fighting for the points after. You cannot get back.
I think Team Draft is going to have to change their name to Cobra Kai because he's showing no mercy right now. Sweep the leg, Scott Cunningham.
Yeah, and then look at Plowman right now at 7 points. It's just like they're just digging, digging, and digging. And what we can't see here is how far they are into the climb. But if you've ridden this course before, you know that it goes around the corner a little bit, a little bit of a flat. So they're nearing the top here.
No kidding. Plowmers is in a really good spot here. He's let those other guys take the lead here. And I think that he and Vujasin may have the ability to sprint around Scotty. Now, just saying that stoked his fires of anger. They're coming up here. He's getting ride-ons from lots of folks here. Somebody's going to have to go, and it looks like it's happening right now. Vujasin kicking it up a little bit, but Scotty really ramping it up. Who's going to go for it? Plowmers needs those points, and he's going to try to just jump on the wheel again. Scotty into the red numbers.
Here it comes.
Vujasin into the red numbers. The big sprint comes right now, and he comes around him. But can Scotty catch his wheel? He can. He's still in the aerodynamic draft. Vujasin, though, pulling away, getting a little of that escape velocity we talked about a moment ago. Vujasin's going to be able to come around the corner. He's going to see the banner. We're going to see it go right over his head in just a moment. Will anybody pass him? No. Vujasin takes those 80 points at the top of the climb and continues to drive on. Will he collect himself in this group, maybe to try to stay away, or will he push even a little bit harder?
Vujasin, Weiss, and Plausmers. That was an amazing effort here. Now, it levels out a little bit before they have that last kicker, and then they can start going down. They can't really back off here because this is their opportunity to add more gap.
Oh, my goodness. Greg Leo launches off the front thanks to his teammate, and he comes under and he grabs those 44 points we talked about just a moment ago.
He does.
That is a real strategic win. Now, while they are about 30 seconds back from the lead group here, they may be able to catch them on the descent here, and Greg Leo may be able to sprint for those top points here in stage 3. I think it is possible. Now, Beth, here's my question to you.
Yes.
If you've got Scott Cunningham still in your group, you can wait for him for just a moment, pull him back in your group so that he can help lead the charge. He's got to get reconnected to his teammate Greg Phillips.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
Greg
He's
Leo
only 2 or
Phillips.
3 seconds behind, but they can't wait too long because the other guys are going to start going down the backside, down Fox Hill. And once they go down Fox Hill, they're going to be gone. And right now they're 30 seconds. So Scott's got to work even harder to get back, and they've got to work together on those descents to try to chase. Because there's another one at the bottom is the station entrance for 3 times points. So that's no joke either. They have to get it. So we'll see. It looks like here he is reconnecting here on this last little climb. He's just got a second to get to his teammates. He's working. Yep. He'll get there. I think they did a nice job of regrouping that without losing too much time.
No kidding. Okay, so let's talk about the next points line here. The fans want to know what is coming next so that they can spot it and they can get excited about it.
So the station entrance, I know we have a graphic. We'll pull that up in a second. But right now you can see the point spread, the 4-second. Looks like Vujasin has a 4-second lead. And a 33-point lead in the standings over Scotty Weiss. That's right. So we've got a 29-second gap for that Chase 2 group. And here is the next point line that they are looking for. Down at the bottom of the backside, this is actually Fox Hill. They're going down. It's stage 3, point 4, it's the station entrance forward, and it's 3 times points. So that's what they are looking for. So we can go back to the race action.
Very, very good.
Yeah. Yep. So
that'll make some folks happy, I'm sure. Okay. Getting ready for the descent here. Well, they're already on the descent here. They're trying to pull back that distance between that lead group. It looks to be about a minute right now, but that's going to flatten out a little bit. They're not going to be in contention for those station points, which are coming up here in just a second. But Vujasin with 4 seconds now on Scotty Weiss, they're going to be able to descend a little bit faster than him, but are going to have to put in a little bit of effort to do it. They can't just freewheel that down like Jesper Fulford. They're going to have to actually push a little bit harder to make that happen.
Well, and you can see too right now that Vujasin went down in his watts. There's a super tuck position that you can get in the game where sometimes it's more efficient to actually get in the super tuck and stop pressing the ruts because of the wind resistance. So there is some calculation in the game of which it's counterproductive to actually be pedaling, but it's so counterintuitive to not pedal, especially when you're trying not to. So Vujasin right now back on at 9.2 watts. Those little micro rests that you can
3 seconds.
get.
It looks like Vujasin may be able to get those points unless there's something
And if we could see his rider
happen.
station, we could kind of figure out how far away we are from the points line. If we could get back to the plot and whiskers, is that what it is? No. Yeah.
Vujasin.
Yes.
Definitely Vujasin is the guy on the front of this. And he's about to cross under right now. It looks like he's going to, take those points.
Takes it.
Okay.
That's right.
And he sees immediately Ploumers looks to get those second place points. Scotty Weiss now has to reconnect. But as Scotty Weiss is just adjusting his iPod shuffle right now, looking back to Greg Leo, he just, I can see this from my angle, pulled up a Taylor Swift tune thinking about Greg Leo. He is saying we are never, never, never getting back together. Exactly. He's going to keep running this thing all the way to the end. Greg Leo is going to try to take those points, but somebody else will take them away. Oh. Dempster is going to try to come around him and says, you can't just have all the points that you want.
It's Phillips.
It's Phillips.
It was Phillips. Yeah, it was not his teammate. It was Phillips that wanted to kind of to come around. And,
Phillips is not happy. He does not have as many of his name, often his name called here. Okay.
Okay, the three at the front here. The big finish is going to be coming. That's the next point line.
And we'll show you that point line in just a second, but we want to show you this little jump up, this 15% coming out of the subway. For those of you who are new to this, it is pretty exciting here. Okay, 28 seconds to that chase group. It looks like Scott Cunningham now separated off the back. He's done all that he can for his teammate at this point, but he still has one there. Gavin is going to help him out.
So if we can hop back on board, maybe with Scotty Weiss at the moment, we can take a look and see how far they are to the finish here. We are inside a kilometer for 6 times points, just over 1,400 meters.
And it appears that Scotty attacked a little bit up on that, and those guys are chasing on now. Looks like Ploumers is separated off the back. He's going to have to do a big chunk of work, but Scotty really, really knows how to do this. He's going to keep watching your effort and match it and break your will. It's like a spell that he puts on you. And we've got Weiss and Vujasin, who look to be the ones who are going to be able to put this together. Now, they can rest a little bit while Ploumers is going to have to work a little bit harder to get back on, because the time to get back on, Beth?
Is now.
Is now.
It's always now, Chris.
Exactly.
I tell that to my legs often. It's always now. But the front group is less than a half of a kilometer away. So, and here's the chase group not far behind.
Yep.
But they're never going to get back together, as you said.
Never, ever.
Now, the question is with Ploumers, will he be able to make up that 5 or 6 seconds?
I don't know. Scotty's still listening to the same song.
That's right.
So it's
we can hop back on with Vujasin here and follow him into the end here.
Okay, we're getting really, really close to the end. Less than a half a mile, less than, a kilometer at this point. We're going to watch this ramp up. It's Lionel Vujasin who is trying to get a little more on Scotty Weiss. He's got to really open that gap. These two men are in the command of this race, but it is about to start sprinting right now. We are getting so close to the end, we're going to start seeing those meter marks
just
tick down.
450
Who do you think's
meters.
going to take it back?
I'm going to go on Vujasin. Scotty's been so strong. He never surprises me. Scotty's going to hear me say that, and he's going to prove me wrong.
Oh,
there he goes.
Right there. He's already started his Vujasin dance. He is going as hard as he can, and he is dropping. Scotty's got 1 second on him, but Scotty's got those big red numbers, and he's going to try to catch back on. If he can catch onto the lip right here as he goes downhill, it looks like it's going to be too far. 100 meters out, you can often get a little bit of an aerodynamic pass as you come downhill and uphill, but it's Vujasin who's going to take this stage and come away with the max point. Scotty cruises across the line, but Greg Leo right behind is trying to steal more and more of those points. Can we get Greg Leo a glass of water here? He's going to come around, and there are the other guys. Dempster, Leo, Cunningham, all coming across here. Big sprint about to happen. Dempster wants to take as many points as he can away from Phillips. That's the way he's got to do it. Greg Leo on the back of this thing and unleashing, release the Kraken. Here he goes.
16
Greg
watts.
Leo, he is tearing this thing up. Oh my goodness, it's a parking ticket to this man. He's throwing it on the ground. He's just going to come across this. But Phillips says, I'm not ready for you to do that. But guess what? It was just a little bit too late.
Leo.
Another 100 yards, and maybe Phillips has it, but Greg Leo comes away with the max points at the end of the line.
He picked up that fourth place spot for 6 times points. He picked up that 66 points there that he needed. So he was the first in the lead pack, the chase pack rather, to grab the next set of points there. So nice work.
Oh my goodness! Look at his neck right there. Let's stay on this for just a second. You can see his heartbeat in his vein right there, just pounding out there. That is some work, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable.
And if you really, one of the things that's really hard to quantify and hard, I mean, you can see the effort, you know that it's physical esports, you can see that it's real, but when you see someone's heart pounding out of their neck.
Yeah, exactly. If we were in Zwift, you would hear somebody click the button and it would say, Nice.
Nice, nice. So here's how it's
That's how you
standing
say it.
at the end here of stage 3. We've got Vujicic at the top, Scotty Weiss in the second position, Greg Leo in third, and Ploudmers in fourth place. So so this is how it's shaping up so far. We do have another stage. And anything can happen to that for our Fast and Furious.
Okay, so we've got our guy Jesper right now down on the line, and he's with Lionel Vujicic, and we've got to find out how this thing went.
Oh,
Jesper,
gosh, great work.
So Lionel, on behalf of everyone out there watching, that was fun to watch. Congratulations, man! You just won. What they don't know out there is that minutes before the stage, you actually broke your pedal. Talk me through what happened.
I don't know. I tried to clip in and I wasn't able to. I checked, it was, oh shit, it's broken. And yeah, I can't stay calm. And I say, oh, I broke my pedal. And okay, the guys changed it 5 minutes before the start, so it was fine.
Going into that sprint against Scotty Weiss, one of the legends of Swift racing, what was the strategy to beat him in that sprint?
I didn't have a strategy. I saw I have 3 meters. I said, okay, I have a little gap. I try to go hard. And I was thinking, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm going to die after, but we'll see.
Going into this CVR, you were the underdog. You were the unknown variable. What do you have to say to everyone out there watching you now?
Yeah, do cyclocross. You will be good at Swift. So.
On that note, back to you, Chris and Beth.
Okay, so I guess I know what my homework is. Do cyclocross. Yes,
is that a drug? What is that? We're not sure what that is. Cyclocross is a racing style.
You know, but yeah, it is a racing discipline, just like esports is a discipline. But it is pretty remarkable that you know to see these guys. We've watched them in the league week after week after week,
yes.
And he is racing how we saw him in the league.
Yeah.
He would just take off a shot at the front and you know make everybody work behind him, and he's proving his stuff today. And Scotty, as always, delivering and giving a good challenge to
no kidding.
He was doing 15 watts per kilogram, but the timing on that sprint, Lionel just had the right timing where he started at the right spot and he couldn't answer.
And you know, we saw even later in that sprint, Phillips had a chance maybe to come around Greg Leo. That sprint has a really unique character because it actually dips and then it climbs just barely before the end. Now, for a lot of people who are not paying close attention to that, that little dip plus the aerodynamic advantage makes it much more likely for the person in the second position to pass the position first. But you have to be
right on the
close
wheel.
enough to get that aerodynamic advantage, because then you get that mathematical boost, and that's part of the meta of that sprint specifically.
That particular one, that's right. But okay, so now I think we have another. Did we have another interview here with Jesper?
Unbelievable Greg Leo. And Jesper, I want you to ask him what deodorant he wears, because I caught a little of it a little bit ago, and it was pretty good. It's good stuff. I might have to pick it up.
Jesper?
So, what deodorant do you wear?
When I race, I don't wear anything. I like to kind of intimidate my opponents with a stench and a power that's beyond comprehension.
I think the better question is, Chris, which hairspray do you use?
I'm wearing a hat right now.
Well, yesterday you weren't.
Heavy starch.
There you go out there. So, Greg, third place overall going into the crit now. What do you want to say to Scott and Gavin for carrying you up that entire hill?
I owe you guys a beer. How about that? And shout out to Racing Mike, too, for encouraging me. Thanks, man.
The question is, how many beers can you get for 10 grand?
Probably 10 grand if we're drinking PBR.
I guess we'll find out tonight. Anyway, Greg, best of luck going into this one. This should be right up your street. Back to you, Chris and Beth.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesper. So, you know, trying to intimidate the riders with his aroma.
I like it. It's pure testosterone.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. That was really exciting to watch.
Okay,
here.
and we're going to have to look at the point standings here in just a little bit. The crowds are going crazy. They want to see some of that stuff. But I think we ought to talk about the next stage first.
Yes.
This is the one that we've been talking about for weeks in anticipation of this, the one that has the tendency to flip everything on its head.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of movement back and forth here because there are 10 point lines on this course, and it is Fast and Furious. That's the name of this, and it is 2 laps of the Classique course at 17 kilometers. So within 17 kilometers, 10 point lines.
Yeah.
So yesterday the point lines were 5, and you had about 8 or 10 minutes in between them, and that isn't even enough recovery. So these these are like 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and they just keep coming fast and furious. So yeah, that would be great. If we could maybe take a look at the video here.
Okay, 16.7 kilometers. This is not a very long stage. Only 40 meters of total elevation gain. 2 laps around the Classique course. Now, Fast and the Furious is what this is called, and it's going to be exactly that. More sprinters jersey on the line, and we'll get some details on that probably after this stage. But this is going to be the one for the sprinters. I expect Steve Young to do great stuff in this, and 10 point lines, over 800 points in this one stage alone.
Yes, and yesterday the 2 stages was a total of like 400 points or something.
Exactly.
I didn't do the math. So this one race can completely erase the sins of yesterday.
Yeah,
at least that's what some of us are hoping for.
Okay, so Jesper's got Scotty right now. We're going to find out just a little bit more about his strategy, perhaps, for this stage 4.
So, Scotty.
Yes.
Did that go according to plan?
Oh, I think it went as good as it could go. I mean, I raced hard, and so did the other guys, and I was a little distracted in the finish there at the sprint. I was looking over on the right-hand side of the board, and he punched it. Of course, that was it.
Quite smart by Lionel right there. So what are you going to do different in this stage?
I think I'm going to do the same. I mean, just follow the guys and sprint as hard as I can. A lot of these guys have more power for sprinting than I do, so, well, you just got to do the best you can.
Yeah, you're currently 2nd overall. I know that pleases your family back home. You always bring Katrina along. What do you want to say to your wife and your kid back home?
Oh, I know Trina and Noah's watching, so, hey, guys, I'm doing the best I can, so cheer me on.
Make sure to give Scotty either a ride on or a cheer back home. Scotty's giving it everything. Going into the crit. Back to you, Chris and Beth.
All right, so one of the things that I think is important as we get into this race is to talk about the point lines. And if we could actually show the graphics for each individual point line rather than our video, because then we can talk about it a little bit, because they come so fast and furious. If we can have these graphics that stand by, and we can also show them first. So let's start with the point 1 for the stage 4.
Which is right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. It's like what we saw yesterday. It's that sprint coming out and the first banner. So if we can go ahead and show us that graphic. It's Fast and Furious for Stage 4 with 2 laps of the Classique forward course for 17 kilometers. Cutoff time is 40 minutes for the women and 35 minutes for the men. There are 10 point lines on this stage. Let's have a look. Point line 1, London Loop banner for 4 times points. Point line 2 is the 1 km to go pennant for 3 times points. Point line 3 is the Classique banner forward for 5 times points. And point line 4 is where the red road changes to asphalt for 2 times points. And it's a looped course, so it's back to the 1 km to go pennant, directly under the pennant for 2 times points. And point line 6 takes us back to the Classique banner for 7 times points. Point time 7, it's again where the red road meets the asphalt for 3 times points. Point line 8, hit the top of the dig forward and earn 3 times points. Point line 9 brings us back around and under the 1 km to go pennant and the 2nd and final lap of the Classique course for 3 times points. And it's just before the 10th and final point line for the stage, and that is the finish banner for 8 times points.
All right, now put your books away, get your pencils out. We're going to do a test on that. Beginning with which was point line 3. Don't worry. We're going to give you these individual graphics throughout this race showing you what comes next. But you see a trend here. We're going to see a lot of sprints at banners. We're going to see a lot of sprints at kites. And of course, that other really good one right at the end of the red tarmac leading onto the asphalt.
When the road changes. That's right. That's right. And we saw a little bit of that play out yesterday on this course where people started their moves, right? So I think that these racers who race in Zwift are accustomed to the traditional point lines. Right. So you said there's the banner. This is where I ramp up, or this is the top of Box Hill. This is where I. So it'll be interesting to see when people go. How long can they sustain that power?
And the riders have these on their screens. And as we look at the rider views, you'll see where they're coming in next. Right. They'll see the distance. They'll know how many points are still available for them. That's exactly how it is. So 707 meters from the start of this race. These racers will have a 4 times point. Now, here's my question to you. At 4x, how much is the top worth?
4x is 80. 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 80 points straight out of the gates. That would be a great one for Greg Leo to have.
That would be a great
Or
one.
Gavin Dempster maybe to steal from somebody else. So there's some guys here who have the ability to go for these, and especially now that we've talked a little bit more about the strategy of how to ramp into that.
That's right.
And take over. We'll see who's got it.
Well, and what did folks? Will Vujasin have the same legs coming into this that when he just spent what he did on Box Hill? And I think that we're going to see different. We're going to be calling different names. I think that we're going to see Steve Young.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have James up there as well. I think there's going to be some
Yes.
power. They're not going to let these sprints go easily.
They're
not. And you look at the individual numbers and you see red, and my brain goes, oh my gosh, look at those numbers. But to continually recover from a physiological standpoint,
yes.
to spend that amount of effort and then recover and do it again and do it again and do it again. So that's a specific training. And these guys have done it, or they wouldn't be here. But they need to dig deep on this and not give away any points.
Now, call it what you want, but yesterday we saw just a little bit of bad blood between a couple of the riders. And certainly the villain, the black hat, has been this guy right out here. Where did he go? Is he giving me the stick guy? I sure hope not. You know what I'm talking about. Steve Young, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully we can begin again. Maybe everything has changed.
Well, he did when we spoke yesterday, he did say, "Did you call me a dark wizard?" I said, no, that was Chris.
There he is right there, Steve Young.
There he is. So, this is a sprinter's paradise. The climbers, obviously we had, Scotty, as we had said, we had Vujasin, all of that great effort. And here we go. We're 10 seconds out of the gate here.
Kidding.
And nobody can get dropped here because it's 4 times points. And once you get separated, it's going to be carnage.
And the gate drops and craziness ensues. My goodness, what is going on here? There's a unicorn in the distance. We see it in the Ploumers. He's pushing as hard as he can. Cunningham right on his wheel. Scotty Weiss trying to get a little bit further ahead. He does. He climbs closer to the front of that. And of course, Leonel Vujasin making sure that he is in the front of that. Maybe the wreckage at the back. You got to be very careful not to get dropped, James Phillips, Ikebe. But here we go. We're getting closer and closer. Inside of 500 meters to the line here. Their legs have got to be burning. Vujasin trying to get and stay at the front, but that is not the position you want to be if you want to win the sprint. Greg Leo is in the right position. He's in that second wheel, but he's got to go with him right here. Once you see those red numbers, it may be too late, but there's plenty of time to close this down. He's got to get those 4 times points, and he's in the right position to do it. Greg Leo could get this aerodynamic little boost. They come down the hill. He's got a chance to pass him, and he does exactly as predicted, but Scotty Weiss says he wants it more. I think it's going to be Greg Leo with the top points there. Scotty Weiss taking some away from his number one rival at this point, Vujasin. Now,
That's right.
will they continue to push hard, or will they chill and let everybody come back?
You know what? I think they're going to take a little bit of a chill. I did notice out of the gate this time, as opposed to yesterday, we did not see those double digits in terms, there's a little bit softer. They were saving it. They started a little bit later. But we did see big numbers a little bit later in that sprint. And then, as you described, Leo played that just.
Well, let's talk exactly about that strat that we just saw. This is part of the meta of this race where you get that aerodynamic advantage. We've got a little replay. We'll show you what happened here, and then we'll show you the next point. Okay, so as they were gearing up for this thing, we saw Vujasin launch where he often launches, but the terrain in this is a little bit different. As I mentioned, it goes down a little bit, and if you're in the draft, as Greg Leo is right now, you get a downhill advantage, and you get an aerodynamic advantage, and you can cover a little bit more ground. Look at the overall wattage right there. Vujasin's still higher than Leo. Right? He should be able to pull away, but he can't because he got that. Now look, coming around him, Scotty with a big kick at the end, but I believe Leo may have hung on. We'll be able to tell by looking a little bit closer at the points for this race because we only have 1 point there. So if we go to the telemetry to see where folks are on course and when the next sprint point is, they've got a little while here. It appears to me, as we look at it, Greg Leo did take that top spot.
Yep.
Scotty Weiss did take that second spot, Vujasin in the third. And we're looking at S4. Look at that S4. No, we're not playing bingo. S4 right there shows you the points that everybody got on this. Cunningham with the lowest points in there. Ikebe got himself some, which is nice, and Kravdal did too.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. So they're still all together here. Our next next point line is the 1 km to go kite, and that one will be three times points.
And for Rasmussen, let's take a peek at that image, of course, of the second stage here. That image will show us exactly where we're trying to go here.
Stage 4.
Yes,
point 2.
Stage 4.2 is what we're looking for here. That is the 1K to go kite. It won't be 1K in this race, of course, but it'll be 1K before that.
And it's one of the spots that you usually see these riders ramp up because it is getting close to the banner. So this is what we're looking for. This is what the riders are looking for.
Yep.
And once they pass under that, 3 times points. So there's a lot of points to be captured in this beginning early stages within the first 8 minutes of the race here.
Yes.
So and we'll go back to maybe we can go back to Grofdahl for a second here
Yes.
and see how he's doing, because Una had a great day yesterday, and I know he is hoping to pick up some points here.
He is. Now, he sees himself right now in the second to last spot in the overall standings, but the gap, and you can see that on the left side of his screen in the green, right? He's the orange box there with that box and whisker plot. That's going to be on your final, Beth.
That's right. So when you take a look at that, you can see the standing. So all of the riders have this on their screen, and they can see how far away the next point lines are. And you know, he's riding nice and steady. I think he's being smart. He's conserving a little bit here and going to get ready, I think, for that sprint.
Yes.
And they have to be thinking here. You know, who their main rival is and what wheel they're going to follow, because we saw that nice lead out.
Yes.
And you don't want to give a lead out to your competitor.
No,
but
you don't.
But you can't be caught 1 or 2 seconds behind. What you have to respond immediately to those attacks, or you won't. So I don't think we're going to see anybody. Oh wait, maybe I'm going to lie.
Oh boy, Cunningham doing a little bit. He heard his name called just a moment ago and decides he's going to try to push a little bit off the front. Will anyone follow? This is part of that tactic.
Yes.
It's like, because if he gets out there, again, he's not a threat, but he can steal points from you. And if Scotty Weiss is jumping over Vujasin, as he just did in that sprint, taking a few more points, you don't want someone like Cunningham to get out there in front and to steal a bunch of points that you could be getting.
Well, and this is what Dempster did yesterday. He made a little of a break and saw who would follow, and the group kind of all collectively agreed not to chase it down.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if it actually, if they respond, or if they just let
as
Scott
they're
get
coming
away.
up the hill here, we can hear a change in the pitch in the room as these trainers spin up big, and they're working to get up this hill, maybe able to pull back. It's only 1 second to Cunningham here, but they're getting ready. Here he goes. Vujasin kicking it into high gear. We saw him getting out of the saddle and moving toward the front, trying to pass Cunningham right there. He's at the front of the group trying to chase down Scotty Weiss right now. They are, and look, he's got the orange jersey on for the fastest lap time on the previous stage. That's something that shows up. But they're coming around to this one. They're only 800 meters to go. Who's going to take this sprint?
I am going to go with Scotty.
Okay. Scotty has shown himself to be really successful here in these, but he's got to be careful not to get on the front. It's Grofdahl there at the front. Maybe a little bit of an alliance forming here with other folks trying to help some different riders out that may not be on their normal team. But you know what? Alliances like that get formed in every single one of these races. Scotty trying to do it. When he takes the big gear like this is a classic professional sprint. You go big gear, you go real low, and then you ramp it up. And anybody who can see his body language knows what that's about. Look at that. He's starting to ramp up through this thing. As it rounds the corner, it'll probably be about 50 revolutions per minute. By the time he crosses that line, he'll be at 110. And there they go. It's really hard to follow. Scotty trying to really ramp up. He finds himself a little bit further behind, but he's got a lot of headroom left to go. Coming around him there, it's Vujasin on the front. Scotty with an opportunity to maybe pass him there, but is there enough line left? Maybe not. Vujasin's going to take that top spot. Plowmer's in that third spot, and Scotty Weiss is going to get those second place points.
You put enough of those first and second together.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you got to be very, very careful, because there's another sprint line coming up right away, and that is the classic
Actually, Scotty
banner.
did get that.
Yes.
Scotty did get that.
He did get those points. Okay, so Grofdahl on the front right now. They're coming up to another sprint right away, and this is where you start to see some wreckage. Look at Steve Young. He's on the back of that thing trying to hang on.
100 points here, Chris. 100 points on ice.
100 points, and Steve Young is climbing up really, really fast here in the group. He's going to have to make a move as they come onto the red carpet here. Dempster on the front of this thing, maybe leading out. James Phillips not far behind, trying to steal some points. Grofdahl just a little bit further behind. Plowmer's trying to chase, and Scotty starts his ramp up. He's in the red before anybody else, and there he goes! My goodness, Scotty, he's blown off the front there. Vujasin trying to get on his wheel. Still a long way out. Vujasin's going to be able to pass him. Scotty's got to slip into his slipstream real quick. Vujasin trying to escape here. Look, Steve Young climbed all the way up. sitting in third position right now. Greg Leo going to try to come around, and Ploumers too. We'll see how that ended up in the standings there. Another sprint happening behind. When it's fast and furious like that, what can you do?
Furious. And the next one comes in about 2 or 3 minutes. So we are going to see, it's going to be crazy. So that one there was 5 times points. So the person getting 100 points who took that away. So basically Scotty and Lionel trading first and second on those two back-to-back point lines.
Let's look at the point standings. 820 for Vujasin right now. 746 for Scotty. Still in great position. And then Greg Leo sitting at that 610 position. His team has done a great job. But Ploumers knocking on the door, trying to take that third podium spot from Greg Leo at this point. So much racing left. It looks like Scott Cunningham doing his work for this stage. Off the back a little bit. Akibe is going to try to connect with him. Maybe they can do some things together.
All right, so what's going to happen? We're going to get to the end of this red road. It's going to make a turn.
Yep.
And then we're just like within 1,000 meters of that next point line. So let's take a quick look at the point line graphic here for point line 7. For stage 4, and we can show the folks at home what that looks like and what these guys are looking at. Here it is. So that's what, when that road turns from the red road to the asphalt is what they're looking at, and they're 3 times points.
That's right.
Go back to the action.
You've got to haul it all the way to the asphalt.
Right, all the way to the asphalt. And so here it is. It comes around the corner. And then sometimes, I think yesterday we did see a couple attacks right coming out of this corner here. So it'll be interesting to see if people do it, launch it here, or if they wait a little bit.
I mean, commonplace, no big red numbers, a little bit out of the saddle, and no one wants to get left behind here.
But they were back-to-back sprints, Chris. They have to be trying to recover just a little bit. I mean, those were like 2 massive sprints within like 3 minutes.
Yes.
So.
Okay, these boys are kicking it up. Scotty with the 2-day scruff there, showing his vintage a little bit in the color of that hair. He's got his hat on, but he is sweating big today. He's got to really get this ramped up. They're inside of 600 meters to go. This is a 2X, and we've got a little bit of a Gravdal and Ploumers jump off the front here. Greg Leo's got to pay close attention to that. He does not want Ploumers to get more on him, and of course Greg Leo then swamps around Gavin, trying to get in a good position to give a good lead out to his guy. They're going to come around to the right here, and then they're going to straighten out a little bit to the left, and then you'll see that change in the asphalt. It's coming up real quick here. We're going from the red tarmac to the gray. That is your finishing line, starting to ramp up. Scotty Weiss on the front. Phillips trying to get up there too. Greg Leo on the front. Can anybody catch him? Maybe so. It looks like Weiss is going to be able to do it. Can't tell at this point. Oh my goodness, it looks like Scotty got one. Here's where this is really important, Beth. It looked like Scotty got the first position, and that Leo got the second position. Vujasin the third. That's a big dip in points. It's only 2X. What's the difference in the math there?
For that, we've got 32 for second place and 26 for third place.
Oh, my goodness.
So we'll see how that
shapes up. They've got more than 2K to go, but we'll give you a quick peek in just a second at the points, and we'll follow that if we can with the next point line that we need to pay close attention to.
So right now, as it shapes up, Vujasin still on top with 846 points. Weiss right behind him, 778. So that's just a little bit, about 60 points difference here. So that can be, you know, in our next point line is 3X. So if he gets that first place, that's 60 points right there. Boom.
There it is. Top of the climb right there. This is one of those that really benefits the lighter riders. But how much can their legs take? They've been treating every single one of these as the most important.
I haven't seen any decisions to not to say this one's not mine. And what the fear is, when everyone goes, you have to go, because if you get dropped, you're not going to get any points. You're going to get the last points, and you have to be in there. You have to respond. And these guys are making people work maybe a little harder than they want to be working. There's no hiding in these points. You cannot just take a free ride. You know, we see these races play out where you're racing for 45 minutes and then one sprint at the end. There's not, you know, you can't. This is a different style of racing, and the tactics are completely different. So 2 times points here for our next one, just over 1,400 meters to go. And these guys have to be feeling it. They have to be feeling it. So Fast and Furious living up to its name, 10-point lines in just under 17 kilometers, and they still have Sky's end.
No kidding. Okay, with just a few points left here, they're going to come. This is the hill. We haven't really hit the hill proper. Well, maybe we have. And it's Gravdal that's trying to get all these points. It's Vujasin trying to really stay next to his competitors there. He's not as worried about getting all the max points. Gravdal is not in his point bracket right now. But look who's going to come and try to do more with this. Scotty Weiss in that third position. Gavin Dempster now falls to that third position. Vujasin trying to get up there as well. He's got that orange jersey. They're about to come across that line in just a second. Oh, 1,000. Sorry, we're a little bit premature here.
It does look like it's that banner, but that's not the one.
It's not the banner,
Nope.
but that one is coming very, very soon. I think we've gotten all of these riders a little bit too excited. Well, when it's fast and it's furious, it's not going to be perfect. Sorry, Internet. Hey, if you're on Mixer, if you're on Facebook, and we've got some great conversations happening in both of those places, click that follow so we can notify you when they go live. Click that like so that you can get updates when we go live with these races, either the men's or the women's. Taking a quick look at Sadeo Ikebe, who is almost back to Scott Cunningham there, trying to reconnect here. He's tapping out, getting as many points as he can, but in a race like this, I don't know, except for maybe a handful of these guys, who could survive an onslaught like this.
This is elite cycling racing at its finest. It is incredible to watch. It's wonderful to watch unfold. Right now, Yuna on the front here, 5 watts per kilogram. Phillips right behind him, and Scott Cunningham looking he's looking like he's done his job. There's a little bit of work there, but
and they are letting him go at this point. There's no serious chase. Yuna Gravdal is trying to get maybe as many max points as he can,
and he's going to grab the points right here underneath the kite.
Well, Scotty's ramping up here, and it's only about 7 seconds back here. You're going to have to step on it, or you're going to give away more points.
He got the points. I think they're saving for the finish here because the finish is 8 times. So Gravdal just picked up that 1 km to go kite, and so now the Classic banner will be coming up.
And here's what's awesome. You look at things from, say, Scotty Weiss, maybe you look at his cockpit view, right? And the cockpit view shows him what we see, right, on his screen. Scotty Weiss's cockpit actually has the little box and whisker plot over on the left side, which shows how many points that he has and how many points that the other riders do as well. We'll show you that in just a second, Scotty Weiss's cockpit. But he knows what he's got to get there. Okay, so on the right side there, you see him in orange. He sees that Lionel's still ahead of him in the standings, but he can look and see how many points are available, and he's about to kick this up. He can see everybody else around him, and he is going to drop this and try to get as many points as he can. Leo goes first, but no one lets him go. This is how it happened last time. Gravdal still up front. Greg Leo trying to get those second place points. Gravdal may get caught before the line, and he will get caught before the line. There's nothing he can do about it. Phillips trying to do as much as he can. Unfortunately, we can't tell you who got that. Didn't have the angle. And we have a crash in the building, ladies and gentlemen. A rider comes off his bike. The folks coming as quickly as we can. They say there's no crashing in virtual bike racing, but that's exactly what happened. It is Steve Young who goes down in the velodrome. Sometimes you can get really, really aggressive, rocking back and forth and loosen that skewer. It happens. It's happened to me. We mentioned it yesterday. I've fallen on the trainer before by just not having everything tightened down. Sometimes you can overcommit to one side. You're leaning hard. If you have as much power as Steve does, that can happen from time to time. There is Neil
Stewart.
When
you are in a sprint on a trainer, it's different than on the road. And these guys are pulling up on those handlebars. They're using every bit of force that you can. And look, he's a monster.
Yes,
like
he is.
He is so strong.
So fit,
and
so
strong. You know that is unfortunate.
His bike,
but
a lot of people don't know this. Most of the time after he rides, they take the bike he rode out in the back and shoot it. They put it out of its misery because he is so stinking powerful. More muscles than maybe all the other riders in this room combined.
Yes.
Okay, so he's got a little bit of a gap there, 12 seconds. They've eased up a little bit. They're going to try to get him. Well, he's going to try to catch back on. But Joachim Plommers with a little bit of a gap now on the rest of the group. Maybe he's going to try to steal some of those away. But the gap closes even more for Vujasin and Weiss. Right there together, less than 100 points apart. Greg Leo in that third position. But Plommers needs to steal some more points from Leo. And he's going to do that by trying to get off the front here a little bit. Plommers now with a few seconds lead. Gravdal with a very gutsy move, but he got swamped before the line.
Yeah, you know, that again was a timing thing. They let him go. They got that one time underneath the banner, all right, right before it, and I think they all kind of saved up. Sorry, it was 2 times under the kite there before the Classic banner, which was the 7 times points. So they let him grab that, but they all came together just like 100 meters before the line and stole that away from him. So if he had maybe put the power down a little bit, he could have grabbed those points too. But Plommers here, 4.9 watts per kilogram, 17 seconds in front of Dempster. So what do you think with that type of a gap? With
17 seconds, it depends, because when they start to ramp up in position, it's almost like they can't control the overall speed because they just don't want to be left behind. And as you see people working hard, they're coming here to the big finish. Not the big finish, but only 200 meters out. Dempster trying to line it out for his guy. Greg Leo on the front here. Scotty Weiss trying to catch on and get as many points as he can. Vujasin maybe fading a little bit, not able to do nearly as much. We're going to see them cross over.
Scotty takes it.
Yes, Scotty with a few more points. And Greg Leo in the middle, maybe messing things up for Vujasin.
Well, I don't know.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. If Vujasin had come in second place, we're going to ask you to do quick maths.
Oh, boy. All right. I'm ready. I hope.
That's not hot. But how many points did Leo just take away from Vujasin?
So Vujasin was third. And it was 39 points. And Lionel was...
Leo was second.
Was second, 48 points. So 48 minus 39.
Okay, that'd be 9 points.
That's right.
And he did it last time, too.
Yep.
He took a few points
18.
away from Vujasin. He's
just
a little thief, that Greg Leo.
Take a little bit away. But, now that gap down to 3 seconds for Joachim. So he took the top points on that point line. And these guys in the chase group are going to close it down. But really, this little cat and mouse between Scotty and Lionel there is very fun.
It is. Hey, everybody, this is the hardest video game that you have ever seen. So if you're on Facebook, click that share and let some of your friends see this hardest video game ever. If you're on Mixer, if you've got an account and you're not a complete, dillweed, click that host and host this channel, because we would love for other people to see the hardest video game ever.
And right now, Vujasin, 1,041 points. Scotty Weiss, 970, and Greg Leo, 771. Okay.
Yeah, and Joachim doing quite a bit, maybe to try to steal a few from Leo here. He's climbing up because he's able to get more points here on the front. Now, this is that one at the top of the hill we talked about previously. And it looks like Ploumers is going to get there. They're really starting to line out. Greg Leo may be in a spot of bother because he's at the backside of this group. Where is his guy, Gavin Dempster, to maybe shepherd him back to the front? That's a pretty big gap.
So Joachim's going to pick up the 60 points. If they don't, is right here, he's 12 seconds up. The next two, 48 and 39 points here for second and third. And who's it going to be? Scotty and...
Oh, my goodness. And Vujasin and Weiss off the front there. And Leo on the wrong side of that break. Gavin Dempster is going to be the lieutenant who's going to try to pull him back to that group. But Scotty gets more points than Vujasin again.
That's
just
right.
A little bit at a time. Now, there's no Greg Leo sandwich in the middle, which I hope that they start to make that. That'd be a good sandwich.
A Greg Leo sandwich,
That's right.
That's right.
So Greg Leo sandwich, which you'd have, just kind of a
avocado?
Thin, well,
avocado.
A thin piece of meat, really, is the way I describe Greg Leo. He's a thin piece of meat. And you've got, you've got Scotty Weiss on one side, which is kind of an older, crustier piece of bread. And then you've got Lionel Vujasin, which is a really...
You did not just say that.
Cracker.
You did not just say that.
You know I did.
You didn't say that.
You know I did.
Do not call me a crust of bread later, okay?
Okay.
All right.
No, you're a writer of a certain vintage.
All right. So 3 times points, 500 meters away. And Scotty Weiss, you're right. He is chipping away ever so slightly at Vujasin.
Only 3 seconds to Ploumers now. They're going to be able to overtake him and get max points on this. I think Scotty Weiss will be able to do that. Vujasin now 2 full seconds behind. Scotty has a chance, if he can pass one more rider, to be able to do even more on this as far as max points.
And you can see that Joachim, with those 2 max points that he picked up, he's moved up to 4th.
Oh boy, here we go. Vujasin closing fast here. Can Weiss hold him off? Maybe not. Ploumers is going to come under first.
Joachim, yes, takes it again.
And Scotty right behind him there. Oh my goodness. Phillips actually crossing the gap there, taking a few more points. You've got Vujasin, you've got Leo, and you've got Weiss. Now a second behind. Vujasin turning the screws, maybe trying to take a lesson learned from the elder statesman and apply it right back at him. You hate it when you take a page from someone else's playbook and use it on him, but that's what's happening right now. Vujasin is in a good spot here. They are only 600 meters away from the final sprint of this race. And Joachim just trying to hang on there, being watched closely by Rick
points,
Woods and Jesper.
160 points.
160 points.
Second
Who's
place,
get
128.
Can you hang on, Ploumers? Vujasin not far behind, only 2 seconds. He's got to deliver everything he's got here. If he can do it, he can get a huge jump on Greg Leo. Greg Leo at the front of this group, looking around to see if there's anybody who's going to take this lead out, and it looks like it's going to be who? It's going to be Greg Leo still on the front of this thing. Scotty with the rainbow stripes trolling in the background. There he goes. Now, someone's got to get on his wheel. They can use his draft. They can use him as a slingshot.
Will he
Can Ploumers get it all the way to the line? Just in front there. It looks like he's going to be able to cross first. No one's going to catch Ploumers. Vujasin comes around Scotty Weiser right at the line and takes a few of those points away. We'll see the big finish here in just a second.
Yes.
Ploumers
Happy.
with a big 160 to climb back
So
into this race.
he made that break and stole the last 3-point lines consecutively.
Yes, he did.
Joachim did that. And this is what we're talking about from one day to the next. There are lots of points on these high points multipliers, and he has moved up to 3rd place based on those last 3-point finish lines. That was amazing to watch. Vujasin still on top, Weiss in second, and Joachim with just a heroic effort there at the tail end of the race.
And Steve trying to get back in this. I think we'll get a little bit more information from him during the break here. Some of these riders already starting to cool down. That is one of the big benefits of being in that big group. Now, it looks like Gavin just decided he's going to back off a little bit more here. Steve coming across the finish line here. He is going to be, I think, in a really good spot still. He's in 5th overall.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to climb over James, even potentially catch Greg on the final stage here. But we are about to see an unbelievable final stage. Look at those points, right? 17:03 for Vujasin, 16:53 for Weiss. Ploumers now jumps over Greg Leo into that 3rd spot because of that heroic move at the end there. Oh my goodness, but they are still within 50 points of one another, and that is exciting.
Well, and that was really interesting too, because he took himself out of the sprint race. He basically got enough distance so that he could steal the points. I mean, and he played it so smart because he had to do some calculation about whether those guys were going to be able to catch him because they had the benefit of the draft. He knows those guys can do double-digit sprints, and they've been doing it over and over again. So he took a gamble, and he rolled the dice. That's a vote for most aggressive.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we thought we had Vujasin in the most aggressive.
Well, he is. So, he's just what he's doing.
Yes, okay. We've got Jesper down there right now with Vujasin, and they are going to have a little bit of a chat here in just a second. No, I'm sorry, not with Vujasin, but with Joachim.
Yes.
So we'll jump to him right now and find out how that went. Jesper.
So, Joachim, first of all, great effort that was. You attacked away. Are you aware what happened behind you during that race? Did you see Steve Young fall off his bike?
No, I didn't. No? No, really. Just by racing by instinct.
Hey, man, that was a great effort, though. Great attack. When you attacked, did you think you could hold it all the way to the end?
Oh, never. Never? No. I was just thinking about the next point.
So you on Facebook before today shared a picture of your family watching back home. Do you think they watched this attack?
Oh, they sure did, yeah. Once you were mentioning it, I was even going harder.
Hey, that's good, man. Great effort. You're now in 3rd place, going into the final stage. It's between you and Greg Leo. Can you hold him off?
Oh, everything is possible.
Everything is possible. So 9 minutes to go. Joachim, Knuckles, that was one hell of an effort. Back to you, Chris and Beth.
Oh, thank you, Jesper. That was an amazing effort, and we saw throughout those stage 3, stage 4, just consistent efforts. Did not disappoint. There was no relaxing, and that cat and mouse between Vujasin and Weiss was so fun to watch, and so like by a wheel. These and at the last final seconds, so incredibly exciting. What do you think these guys are feeling right now?
Oh, they're absolutely cooked. I think that some of them would really wish that there was no stage 5, but there is. Sky's beginning, the hardest part of this climb, Fox Hill.
That's right.
And there will be somebody who is not as fresh as the others. They look at it. As you look down the line here, you see these guys spinning out, trying to get as much recovery in between.
And now the other thing, besides the point lines today coming faster and having less rest between them, there's also less rest between the stages.
Yes.
So yesterday was kind of as hard as it was, and I raced yesterday, so I know how hard it was. Like today is just like stupid hard.
Yeah.
I mean, so like 1 minute to recovery or 30 seconds to recovery, 2 minutes to recover after these massive sprints, these massive climbs. And then you have just, 6 or 7 minutes in between the stages to be ready game on again. So
it's mind-boggling.
It is, and all of these guys. I mean, we know that they're the Global Zone winners. We know that they earned their way here, and they are all proving it today.
Yeah,
they brought their A games. There's this level of seriousness. There's this a lot of the tactics with the draft team, which is super fun to watch. And I know that CVR World Cup is going to be doing some team stuff, and we'll talk about that that later. But I think we have Jesper with Steve Young to talk a little bit about what happened in that stage. Jesper?
So, Steve, you've done the impossible. You managed to crash on an indoor trainer. How do you feel right now?
Not many people can say they've crashed and fallen on the floor and still get points and go over the line. So, I'm happy to take the honour of crashing inside and taking points at the same time. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
So, what went through your head when you were slowly falling over to the left? Because it looked like it was in slow motion.
Well, it was you, mate. You, the one who stood behind me. I was waiting for you to pull me back up. No, I actually tried to recover myself, but I just see my front wheel dislodge, and then the skewer in the back came undone. And when you've got 1,000 watts plus, I'll challenge anybody to keep their bike upright.
Steve Young, humble brag. This last stage here, everything you've got Gavin Dempster, Jona Grafdal behind you. What's the strategy?
I'm going to help my boy Phillips. Try and get him far up as I can. Not too worried about anybody else, if I'm honest. Just want to get James up there, see if he can get more points and home in on some more.
Let's get the last stage underway. Back to the commentary desk.
Oh, thank you very much. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
No kidding.
I
Great,
love that.
Seriously, but
I would not
Steve.
want to have been that bike. The
No,
torque
no.
on those bars. That was
exactly. Most of the time, most people don't know this, but there are a lot of bikes are made of carbon and titanium and stuff like that. It has to be made out of kryptonite because he is a Superman and he is super strong.
Well, kryptonite isn't that not what Superman wants? Wouldn't that make him weak? Isn't that his?
Okay, and the Marvel Universe and DC Universe just blew up because now we're doing it all wrong.
Yep. In the polar negative universe, maybe. So let's take a look at this
DC.
next course, okay? So we are going back to stage 5 here, Sky's Beginning. So we are going to have another climb segment. It's 14.6 kilometers, about 220 meters climbing, and just one lap, but don't let that fool you, Chris.
Oh, boy.
Because the top of Fox Hill is another big point line. But there are many point lines on this Sky's Beginning course. There are 5 point lines. And we'll talk a little bit more about those, and they come pretty fast and furious, to use the name of the previous stage
Not
race.
as fast
not
or
as furious.
So basically, it's like the Vin Diesel reboot in about 20 years.
That's
not
right.
as fast, not as furious, but that's how it is.
Yeah. So maybe we can queue up that point line so we can have the viewers at home, and then throughout the course we'll do that again as we'll show everybody the point lines as they come so they can kind of play along and know what they're looking for. The riders on course know what they're looking for.
They do. They've got them on their screens. But for many folks, this is not a design of the Zwift game. This is a Frank Garcia brilliant moment where he has created these different ways of using the course. And that's really common in great esports. We take a game that is well established and we add some context to it to change the meta, and he's completely changed the meta today.
Well, that overlay this is the first time we've seen that overlay. That's the first time we've seen point lines, and we've seen people, have, preems in races. But this
is different.
This is completely different. And as we go through,
I was going to say, you can win the final race and lose the event.
Correct. So there's a lot of strategy and tactics. So let's take a look at the point lines. This is the 5th and final stage called Sky's Beginning, the London Loop Reverse. 1 lap, 14.6 kilometers, cutoff time 40 minutes for the women and 35 minutes for the men. There are 5 point lines. Let's take a look. Point line 1 is right before the subway goes down in the reverse direction for 2 times points. Point line 2, top of Fox Hill reverse, which is also known as Fox Hill, for 8 times points. Point line 3, the station entrance in reverse for 3 times points. Point 4, top of the dig forward for 1 time points. And the final point line for stage 5 is the finish banner for 10 times points. Okay.
And that's really, really exciting. If you're here for the first time or you're here regularly, it doesn't matter. Click the follow, click the like, Mixer, Facebook. Make sure that we can notify you when we're going live on these things again. Okay, it's time to get ready to maybe make some predictions. Beth, I'm going to kind of run through our men here, and I'd like you to tell me if you think they're going to finish higher in their current standings or lower in their and you have to choose one.
Okay, so
Hold
overall,
on.
so we're right now with the current standing. Let's take a look at the telemetry.
Okay,
so
telemetry.
I can, if we can pull up the telemetry, then I can make some better predictions.
Okay. Lionel Vujasin.
So your question is he going to take the whole thing?
Is he going to take the whole thing?
The point differential that I see right now, oh, it's so
You can't
close.
see this, folks, but she took off a shoe to do the math.
I am carrying the 1 and taking the square root of 7. No, so I think that that's going to be very close, but I think Vujasin is going to hold that spot.
Okay, Scotty Weiss. So by that you say Scotty is not going to go up. So is he going to go down?
He might go down, but I'm going to say that, and I know that what that's going to do is he's going to prove me wrong.
I'm going to give you a head-to-head then.
Okay.
Ploumers or Leo? Who's going to finish in that third spot?
Leo.
Okay. Phillips, can he climb as high as third, maybe fourth, or is that where he's at?
I think that might be where he's at, but Steve Young is going to work really hard to give him every opportunity to move up. We just heard from him, and he said he's going to work.
How huge is that? Because he's right behind him in the standings. He could technically compete with this guy, James Phillips, but instead he ID'd that he's going to work for him.
He's going to work for him. Well, that's a team tactics right there. Team innovation, working together and working it out and deciding, what they're going to do. We're going to see, Dempster and Cunningham continue to work for Greg Leo. So on these climbs, we saw Scott Cunningham absolutely blow himself up for his teammates.
Mm-hmm.
You saw him do it. So he's going to have to go back to the well, and Leo's going to have to count on that to get those points. So and for you can't get off the hook. We're a little over a minute to the gate drop. Your predictions?
I am 100% convinced that the person who's going to win this thing is going to have
the most points.
Yes.
I
down
anticipated
right
that. Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
that's Andy Jenner logic there.
Yeah,
really.
right. Whoever has the most points win. You heard it from Chris first, and he is never wrong about
Never
that.
wrong
just
about
ask Abby.
that. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're 1 minute out, and we're going to jump down to the pen in just a second. You have the opportunity right now on Mixer, on Facebook. Please, and I'm talking to you, Quentin, Andy, you folks that are out there, make a commitment. Throw the name that you believe the person's going to win in the chat, and then we can call you names, and those might be good names at the end when you actually predicted it right. Actually, it's a two-part question: who's going to win the whole thing, and who's going to be to the top of the climb first?
But here's the thing to remember.
Yes.
There's 24 times points total.
Wow.
That someone can get on this stage alone. So you do the math, Chris. 24 times points. How many points can someone take here?
They could take 24 times points, 200 on the final sprint. 200. They could get 200 full points on the final sprint.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
5 seconds.
Here it is, and the gate is going to drop, and we're going to have a one almost right away. Here. Big jump right there, but not nearly as big as before because you know what? They just have to get up to speed. Gravdal at the front there, not very far behind, just Ploumers. He's trying to stay in that group, and they've got 1,000 meters to go before that first 2X banner, and they are pushing really hard to do so. Really interesting. Vujasin in a big bad spot at the bottom of this line right there. I don't know what happened, but he catches himself maybe in a bad spot. He's climbing up pretty quick. No big gap there, but he's got to find himself around Scotty Weiss, and they've got to pay close attention to one another. They cannot get executed on. And they're very, very friendly to one another. But you know what? They want to beat the pants off each other right now. And that's just the way it is. Look at that. Glasses on. Greg Leo in dude mode. It's happening right now. He's going to try to get as many points as he can as well. Ikibe in a good spot in the group, showing that he is strong enough to ride with these guys. He's found himself in a couple of uncomfortable situations, and he's been dropped off the back. Beth, Steve Young is got a lot to prove on this one. Are we going to see him take some points?
I think he's going to definitely take some points. I think he is going to dig in. He's a tough mental competitor.
Oh, boy. We are 400 meters to go here. And look, there's some cool people in the background, too. How's it going? Steve, you got to dig, and he does. Now we're ramping up for the big sprint right here, and he's going to go. He's off the front here. Is anybody going to follow? This is not a huge, huge point, but he's going to try to get some of those. Phillips on his wheel, no doubt going to sprint around him at the end here. They're going to come around and come across that threshold as they descend there. Will Phillips pass pass him. Very easily could do so. And it looks like maybe not. Akibe trying to get some points for himself. Who is this guy? The Akibe shuffle is going to work for him today. It looks like Akibe got those points. In that second position looked to be James Phillips. That's some points that you want. But Akibe is going to be stealing some points at the top of this thing. The 2x points on the, it's 40 points. That's going to really bump him up. He's got a lot of folks at home in Japan who are cheering for him, and they should. He's a good dude. Uh-oh, listing hard to port right now, taking on some water.
So Yoakum there in third. So he already yes, so he's moving. Greg, we do have a replay of that last one. We'll take a look at that.
All right, here it is, gearing up for the first sprint point right there.
He leads it out here, Steve Young. We were thinking that maybe he's going to try to set up Phillips for that sprint. Vujasin says, no, I am not going to back off. They round that corner with about under 200 meters to go. And when they come into the subway here, you can see as we see it in slow motion, we've got Young and Phillips, just like as we expected. Yep. He's playing this perfect, Steve, doing his job. But what happens? Akibe says, I'll take that lead out. Innovation, thank you very much. And as it comes across the line, it was too close for us to call. So hopefully in the slow motion, Akibe motors back, and you can see Vujasin right down his tail there, grabbing that wheel, and it is
maybe ended up with those third place points.
Yes,
we'll be able to see it as we peek at it in the telemetry. But things are probably going to heat up here also as they hit that climb. As we look at stage 5, it was Vujasin, Young, who ended up with 40 points there. That second position, which we can't see because of the ticker there, probably down there in Akibe position. Okay, back to the race as it's happening right now. Some of you being very brave with your comments, and thank you very much.
Nice work by Akibe, sticking up those points. Okay, so now this is the top of Box Hills, but it's the Fox Hill climb. So it's the opposite climb that we saw earlier. So this climb is a little bit different. How is this climb different from the forward? How is the reverse different?
It is much, much harder. It is much steeper.
To be specific, it's much harder.
Okay, so the first climb sucks, and the multiplier is 0.2. The multiplier on this suckiness of climb is times 8, and it is. It's an 8 times the point differential here at the top, so it's worth way more points.
So they're going to be fighting for this because 8 times points. Past that, they're going to have the point lines downstream of this is 14 times points. So this is like, this point is half of what's left in the race. So,
that's right.
So here they are at the front here, as we would expect, Weiss and Vujasin playing that cat and mouse. Gravdal right there. And, I think
this
he has
is more
some
goats and bears, actually.
I think we're going to see a lot out of Una now here, Gravdal, on this. He had a little, he had a day yesterday, he had a little bit of a mechanical yesterday, and these guys are getting tired. So I think that he's going to capitalize on some of that.
He is. Look, James Phillips not very far behind there.
Nope.
Really delivering on what he and Steve Young had talked about was a little bit of the plan. He wants to help his boy out, but he is in a lot of pain. He can't keep both eyes open. This is like Sour Patch Super Sours. There's like an atomic warhead right there he's just eating. That is the pain in his legs. It's happening right now, and he's just tapping it out. He's just focusing on what's in front of him, which is just a little bit more pain or a lot more pain, depending on how fast you're going. All right, as they come up this hill, great looking legs there, Mr. Phillips. Just letting you have it.
Vujasin, 2 seconds back from Scotty. Scotty's up the road a little bit here. I'm sorry, from Yoakum, and I think that'll come back together. But we have Phillips and Dempster Leo 5 seconds back right now. So he's going to dig in a little bit deeper and try to close that down.
Scotty wants the points at the top of this. We mentioned that it's 8x. And how many points available to the top riders?
160 points for the top.
Okay, so he comes across first. We're just kind of doing some math here, projecting some math at the top of this climb. 160 points available to him. That second position, Vujasin?
128.
128. And as we look at the telemetry, we can see the point differential that would create there. From 160 to 128, that's 32 points that could go in. That is exactly the kind of thing that Scotty needs to keep chipping away at. He just needs more points than Vujasin, and he has to beat him across the line at the end. And those two things are possible. My guess here, just a prediction, is that we're going to see a separation. Una and Yoakum just a little bit further behind, but I think that gap is going to continue to grow as they climb because Scotty and Lionel are two really strong climbers.
Right, and they're having their own fight right now. I think they're battling against the whole field here, but also they really, with that small point spread between them, they are really trying to just be out the other one. So at the top of that box hill, they get the 8 times, and then they get that point line again at the bottom of the hill at the subway. So there's another 1 times point. So if he gets that, if Scotty gets both of those, he has a chance to knock
no kidding. And you know, a lot of people on Mixer are asking, is Ninja here? No, but he'd be great at this game. Actually, we'd have to build it around a little bit of the Fortnite Island there, right, so that you could ride through Tilted Towers, right, ride through Dusty Depot and some of those places, Snobby Shores. It'd be interesting to have it in the Moisty Mire. Did you know that's the name of a virtual place, the Moisty Mire?
It is?
Yes.
I did not read the pamphlet.
We know, yeah, exactly. Moisty Mire is in the pamphlet, but from what I understand, there's quite a bit of discharge there.
Okay, so as we come up here, Greg Leo, he actually looks pretty relaxed. And, you know, what we cannot underestimate here is how hard these guys are working and how terrible they feel. I mean, they have to be feeling terrible. And Leo has his game face on.
Yep.
And he's looking strong, and he digs in, gets out of the saddle a little bit. Sometimes changing your body position when you're fatigued puts a different angle on your muscles. You can kind of like let one part kind of rest a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not really ever resting,
no.
but you're just kind of working your muscle at a different angle, and that is one way to sort of save your legs for the work ahead. But Greg Leo, still a few seconds back. But what do you think? Do you think he's going to get that close, or is that going to grow?
I think it's probably going to grow. Those two guys are not going to let any of that stuff come back. Right now, they are collaborators on the course. But actually, as we look at Scotty and Vujasin, they're coming very close to that finish line right now. We want to catch them, and here it comes. They're inside 800 meters, and look who has left.
Vujasin is 2 seconds up the road.
Scotty with quite a bit of pain on his face. That's not a face we see very often. Vujasin doing his dance.
Yeah, and you know what? Look at his cadence, 104 RPM. So one of the differences that we notice here is the riding style. And here's where the road, it flattens out a little bit, goes actually downhill a little bit. So you can open up that space. So as the other person behind you is climbing a little bit, you have this open road to open up that gap. And he takes it. Now it's 9 seconds
and he's going to try to capitalize on it right now. Scotty may have cracked on the climb. That's what you see. He's in a different spot, but he's getting really, really low gear. The difference in the riding style here, Scotty, big gear, big mash. He can do that. Vujasin, spinning
cadence,
much faster.
Yep.
He is tapping it out, and he is in all of the pain that he could possibly be in. That is a cyclocross face, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody give him a hand up. Well, maybe not yet. It may not be approved in here. And he's going to come across. He's inside of 30 meters. He crosses under the banner, and he's going to take the top points there.
160 points for Leo.
But here's the question I have for you, Beth. Is this over now? Is there any chance that Scotty Weiss can catch him on this descent, or is he going to run away and get max points at the end here?
Well, Scotty's going to do everything he can to catch him, because it's not the point line at the bottom for 1 times. It's the finish of 10 times.
Yes.
So he's going to work the whole time together. His focus is going to be working the whole time to close that down. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 here, and that is where we're at. So right now, Scotty here is looking for the 3 times entrance here. It's 2,900 feet away. Sorry, 2,900 meters away. Scotty Weiss 14 seconds back. Lionel's still cranking off the front at 6.2, but Scotty is answering that. You can see that Joachim is 32 seconds back. And Scotty is digging in. And again, digging in on the downhill, you can see on the top right side of the screen right now the gradient is -3, -4. You can see the speed, 34 miles per hour. So he is going down the hill. It's not enough to get into that super tuck position, so he can't rest. So what can usually happen sometimes on these descents is someone can take a little bit of a break and get into that super tuck position and actually accelerate a little bit. But here is Lionel. He is not backing down at all. That high cadence. We're going to have to give him his own name. I don't know if it's a shuffle or if it's a little swanky
it needs
swindle.
a name for sure.
It does need a name here. So he is still cranking out 102 RPMs, and it was really interesting to watch. 7.8 watts per kilogram. Now he's got a 28-second lead on Scotty. So I think he's going to steal for sure these 3 times points at the bottom here in the subway, because Scotty has to do way more than he's doing to catch it up. So maybe he will, or he's got Joachim 17 seconds back. This is not a circumstance where you're going to let yourself go back to the chase group and work with them on these downhills. We would never do that. So he's on his own, and he's going to have to just hammer to do everything to catch up. So Vujasin in the top spot. Looks like he's going to hold the top spot unless Scotty digs in and closes that gap. And we did see now we've got them relaxing a little bit in the super tuck position, which is a smart move right here.
Yes.
Because 59 kilometers per hour there, he's not getting any more benefit of the power. He's actually going to be going faster by being in the super tuck in that descent than continue to work hard. And Scotty's not quite at that steep, was it -10 that we saw?
Yes.
Gradient that we saw, the speed kick up enough. There he goes.
But
now
as you predicted, Ploumers with an unbelievable climb right there, putting more into Greg Leo. You do not want, if you're Greg Leo, that many people in between you and the man that you are competing for that same spot. There's a big difference in money and payout that's going to happen right here. Lots of folks contributing on all of that. You can, of course, watch and cheer on CycleView. It shows up on their screens right here in the studio.
And
you
that builds a prize pool. And it actually goes to the individual's rider as well. 50% goes to the prize pool, and 50% goes to the rider. So here we are, 600 meters, 3 times points. And then Joachim here just really destroyed himself in the last half of the other race, but he is still in a great position right here, picking up 500 meters out to pick that 3 times points. So he can possibly get.
There he is, Vujasin. He's going to come across first here. This is the spot that he wanted to be in. The question will be, is the gap closable by Scotty Weiss? Can he put in enough energy, or has he just accepted his position on here? That is 24 seconds back to Scotty Weiss. He's doing as much as he can. He's going to come and get some points here as well. The 3 times points coming through, but Vujasin got many, many more.
But Joachim and Scotty right now has to protect his position because Joachim is only 4 seconds back.
Yes.
So now, if he's making a decision that he can't catch, he doesn't want to pull Joachim up to Vujasin. He has to stay ahead of Joachim.
Or he and Joachim can work together maybe to pull him back, because if Scotty Weiss can get to the end of this, right, and he can actually take those big points, he can still
out-sprint. Yep,
yes, he can still outspeed him in Brennan, but he's got to get him back. Vujasin may have put a little bit too much too early, and this is really still in danger. If you're thinking about switching over to some Yahoo playing Fortnite, don't do it. $10,000 on the line right here. Click that follow while you're here so that you can be notified. But he comes up to the top of this, a real hard kicker coming out of the subway. 1,700 meters to go before the big finish. It's coming real soon for him. Right now he's going to come across the bridge and there toward the big finish line. He's got to hold on to it. It's less than 20 seconds now. Can it happen? I don't know. But if Ploumers and Weiss can put it together just a little bit, Weiss might be able to close down that distance together. They can see him. He's right there. Look at that sprinter's jersey on his back. That green indicates he's the fastest guy. Now, Scotty is not going to wait for Ploumers. He'd love to have him, but he knows that if he can beat him across that line there, he's got a chance to take the points away, and it will. That 10x points will be just enough to jump him over Vujasin to the big win. It's still possible here. Vujasin, though, knows exactly what has to happen, and he's going to continue to empty his tank.
So he has got 5 kilometers to go here and 2-point lines. Okay, so with that 26-second lead, what does Scotty have to do in terms of effort more, like what watts per kilogram? Right now, like if you're chasing someone down, you need like half a watt per kilogram faster? Like
no,
what
I
is
think
it?
you need a full watt per kilogram faster. Now, Vujasin can see how much work he's doing. He can tell how hard he's pushing. Essentially, that thrust-to-weight ratio, right? You can see that number beneath their names on the right-hand side of the screen, and Scotty Weiss has got to do more than Vujasin. So but right now, he's not.
He's not. And when you look at that, when you're in that front spot, that's what you're watching as a racer. You're watching your relative effort and the relative effort, and it's a psychological game. So Vujasin, 5.4, Scotty, 5.1. All Vujasin has to do is just continue to stay a little bit ahead on that power effort to keep that gap.
Yep.
To keep that gap.
They're inside of 3 miles to go. Inside now of 4.5 kilometers to go for Vujasin there at the end. And if we look at the telemetry one last time, we'll see a number of important things, including their gap to one another. Look at the total points right here in their position right now. If nothing changes, Vujasin will win the biggest purse in virtual cycling history, over $10,000. But Scotty Weiss has the ability. The points are close enough here that he could jump over him at the finish here. It is possible. It is possible, but it's going to take a little bit of work from some other folks. Scotty Weiss has got to catch on there, and is 20 seconds behind at this point. Vujasin knows that no matter what happens, he cannot let any of that time just go away freely. He took all those points right there, but the 10x points coming up in 3.5 kilometers.
10x, 200 points for that first place. So will Vujasin get it, or Scotty getting 160 if he holds that space? And it doesn't look like Scotty is wanting to play the game with Joachim. He's just keeping his position. He's a couple seconds up the road from Joachim, saying, you know what, you got to come to me, brother.
Yes, you do.
You got to come to me.
You.
Yep, and, you know, so sometimes these alliances happen in conversation, and sometimes they happen in game just by, like, looks like we're working together.
Yeah.
But Scotty is saying, this is my race, man. Joachim, if you're going to come play, you got to come.
No kidding. And when it ramped up, when it really mattered, it was hard work. Greg Leo, as strong as a rider as he was, when they hit that climb, he was going down like a fat kid on a teeter-totter. He could not hang with these big boys. And we see as they come through this section, he's a great sprinter. But there's Scotty overhead. Look, somebody might think, is the roof leaking in here? There's just water dripping off his head. No, that is pain, that is perspiration. Those stripes on his sleeve indicate that he has done this before.
World
at the highest
champion, elite athlete, world champion multiple times. You know, we've seen him in game, race, and he is, again, just proving his proving those stripes. But Vujasin getting stripes of his own here, proving he is the racer we saw in the league.
Yes.
Still laying it down, 5.2 watts per kilogram, racing very much like we saw him in the league, just consistent.
Exactly.
And you know, he would always be off the front of the pack, always be off, make the others chase. And when I first saw him race, I thought that was just a little bit of a tax. But his style is to just try to get away and then lay it down in the sprint. He's great.
It's the cyclocross history and the cyclocross training for him, which is go,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's exactly the way it is.
And
okay, 2 kilometers to go here to the big finish.
And he is putting his head down. You can see his body language. He is feeling it. It cannot be understated, the amount of effort and the amount of pain that these guys are in. And, you know, he is digging deep, probably deeper than he's ever had to deep. But that cyclocross training does help, because it is just hard all the time and fast go, barely any recovery. I think we're probably going to have a movement to cyclocross for a lot of these racers.
Kidding. We are getting there. 1.5 kilometers to go. Scotty still trying to close down that distance. Enough time to do it, but it's going to take everything he's got, and it's going to take Vujasin fading. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe it won't. There you see the chase group. He is on there with Plommers. Plommers needs those points even more, because he can jump over onto that podium and take that spot from Greg Leo.
That's right. It's a race for second place right now here. So, you know, Plommers did catch up to Scotty. He's actually putting in a little bit more work. So probably going to see a sprint between those guys. And then we have Phillips and Leo and Gravdal. And you know, how are those going to shape out? Now, Scotty Weiss, here he goes.
Let's take a quick look at Vujasin. He's about to cross the finish line here, and this is a big finish. 1K to go. We're going to watch him out, and we see it at the time still growing. He's 1 kilometer to go here. He just has to suffer at maybe the most pain he has ever felt in a bike race. We'll ask Jesper to ask him that specific question, but he'll be able to see the end from here. He's ridden this course many times before, and it is a magical moment. You train hour after hour. You put in pain when all of your friends are going out. You continue to suffer and do everything that you can to make yourself better and smarter and faster. And with 700 meters to go, Vujasin is going to have the opportunity to collect and make his dreams come true.
For $10,000 here, 10 times points, 30 seconds up the road from his nearest competitor, and he is going to take the win. He is not even backing down. Still 5 watts per kilogram. Still digging it in.
Putting
this
it
is
all
the
into
heart. This is the heart of a warrior right here. Vujasin consistently every stage, never back down. Dig. He has been amazing to watch. Stand out of our racing here. Just over 300 meters to go. 7 watts per kilogram.
Okay, he is almost to the finish. He knows it's there. He gets out of the saddle. Energy moves. CVR created the biggest purse in virtual cycling history, and Vancouver is the city of dreams. Lionel Vujasin, he has completed his mission. Mission accomplished, $10,000.
No kidding. That is the top spot. Way to go, Lionel Vujasin. He is soaking it in, and Scotty Weiss here coming in to grab those second place points for that 10 times there. And then it's been a cat and mouse. So watch, he's chasing down Yoakum right
He's
here.
not
He's
gonna
not going to let him have
Scotty
it.
Weiss, the ultimate
He
competitor,
does around it,
said,
sprints
"Let me
it
show
at
you
the
how it's
line.
done, my friend."
He said, no. Oh, yeah. That was,
yeah.
had more left. He said, you know, you might catch me, but you are not taking that second place. You're not taking that second place.
Chatting with Frank Garcia about
That is right. But Yoakum right there,
Oh,
third place. Okay, so to get these 1, 2, 3 spots after everything. Okay, here we go.
James Phillips trying to chase down Gravdal there, still on the course. Leo now just a few seconds behind. He's going to want to try to get as many of these points as he can as well. Gravdal coming in that third position overall in this stage. We'll give you a recap of the points here in just a couple of seconds. In order to do that, though, we're going to have to eliminate our ticker at the bottom because we cannot see all the scores. Perfect. It looks like as the points stand now, unofficial, now they'll get approved by the officials here in the room. Looks like Lionel Vujasin takes the top spot at CVR World Cup Vancouver. Scotty Weiss in that second spot. Joachim Ploumers rounds it out into a third position there, narrowly edging Greg Leo.
Amazing. And we do have Jesper standing by with Vujasin. Jesper.
So, Lionel Vujasin, you have just won $10,000. How do you feel?
That's ridiculous. I don't know. I can't believe it. I die. I think I'm gonna die.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing you got a Red Bull there with you then.
Yeah. I need some wings right now. I don't know what to say. It's crazy.
You got to the top of Fox Hill. You had a gap on Scotty.
Yeah.
You never let up.
Yeah.
How come?
Actually, I got cramps from the beginning of the stage, and my legs, it was hurting anyway, so I tried to push with the cramps. I don't know what to say, seriously.
Now you've been through all this, Lionel. You've done the CVR World Cup. You've come out victorious. What do you think about all this virtual racing compared to your cyclocross, compared to your outside racing? Where does this rank on that scale?
Actually, it is. Thank you. It's so tough. I don't think I have never hurting so much on a bike than this. This is a great training. This is a real sport, and it's very special. You need to practice for that, and I can understand why the team draft is focusing on that, because you need a proper training for that.
And so, is there anyone out there you want to thank? You've just won $10,000, winner of CVR Vancouver. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, the whole team from Cycle Legend. That's crazy to organize such a great event. All the riders here coming from all over the world is such. I think is the best organization I have ever participated in. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next World Cup. I will try to qualify again and try to defend this victory.
Hey man, obligatory knuckles. And on that note, back to you, Chris and Beth.
Oh, we're going to have to end with obligatory knuckles ourselves.
Yeah, we will.
Yes,
And you know, the $10,000 along with this beautiful winter jersey for him. Yep. And it is, wear this with pride. It is hard fought and hard won. Ooh. So this is some of the bling, courtesy of our friends at Garneau. But it's a beautiful jersey, well earned. Congratulations to all of the guys today.
Yeah,
I mean, over the past 2 days, we have seen racing like we have never seen before.
Oh boy!
You know, the point lines, the strategy, the tactics, the amount of digging deep. This is not time trial and then sprint at the end.
Yep.
This is a whole new format, and it was amazing to watch it play out.
We'll give you the telemetry one more time because that's the spot we've got our winners lined out there. And it was Lionel Vujasin in that top spot. Scotty Weiss takes second. Joachim Ploumers comes back to take that third spot away from Greg Leo. We've got, of course, James Phillips in the fifth spot. His buddy Steve Young makes that possible for him to get in that fifth spot. Gavin Dempster working really hard for Greg Leo. Gravdal recovering very nicely, continuing to climb the ladder. The lieutenant, of course, Scott Cunningham, and Akibe rounding out that top 10. All world-class athletes here in Vancouver this
World-class. And we do have Jesper on the floor with Scotty Weiss. Jesper.
Thank you, Beth. Scotty, second place overall. How do you feel, man?
You know, I actually feel fantastic. I mean, you know, this was a great experience. I think the caliber of the racers at this event was, you know, top-notch, the best one I've done so far. So, you know, to race hard with all these guys is an honor, and I'm happy.
What about the new points format? Because you've been here since the very beginning, since Virginia. Now we're here in Vancouver. This new format, what do you think of this?
Man, I tell you, I mean, it is very, very hard. I mean, you know, personally, I would rather just go hard on the hill and try to go solo. But with the points, I mean, it really mixes it up. It makes you push yourself to a new level. And, yeah, it was great.
And next to you, you got your teammate, third place on the podium as well, Joachim Plumers. Was there any teamwork going on there in the end between you two, Joachim?
I was trying to get back to him and see if we get footage of him back, but I was wasted.
You were done after that sprint. Are you happy with third place?
Oh, I'm really happy, amazing.
What do you think, Scotty? Team X, runners-up, and third place?
Yeah, man. Team X is the way to go. And, you know, we tried hard at the end, you know, to work together. And, I mean, I'm proud of everybody, Team X and non-Team X. I mean, I think it was great.
Hey, on that note, guys, well done to everybody here. Back to you, Chris and Beth.
Yeah, thank you. And that was what's really been exciting about just not the points format is how these teams played. So we had Team X in the mix, we had Team Innovation, we had Team Draft. So all these different tactics played out, but at the end of the day, it was Team X that got the podium.
And that's the next kind of part of the evolution of the CVR World Cup is the team league. And some teams have already started to kind of throw in. You'll be able to watch these on all of the streaming methods. You can see these teams from all over the world with multinational teams racing in a really cool format like this. But one of those teams, Team Vision, submitted a recent, well, audition video, right? Like you would for Survivor or something like that.
Well, a little get to know you video.
Yeah,
a little get to know you. And then we'll hope to introduce you to many of these teams to get to know you. So we got to know Draft, we got to know Team X, and not represented is Team Vision. So let's take a little introduction into Team Vision, if we have it.
The Vision Zwift racing team as we know it today was created in 2016 after the original Vision cycling mountain bike team directed by Nathan Guerra. It started off with about 10 people and grew with every new rider. 2 years later, the team counts about 70 riders coming from 15 different countries and racing in all categories. In the past years, Vision has won a certain number of races, including the Tour de Zwift, 16 spots at CVR World Cup events and 5 podiums there, as well as 2 podiums on the eCrit finals, 4 Zwift national titles and a Zwift Academy. And all of this with no less than 16 different riders. At Vision there are no superstars, no egos, just people who enjoy racing and riding with each other. When it comes to racing, it's never about how strong you are as an individual, but how far you can push yourself towards a common goal. Not only on race day, but every single day, and that's what makes this team different. For us, being the best is not about winning and losing, it's not about the result. It's about giving everything we've got for our teammates, the ones that are right next to us and the ones who are cheering. So, who are we bringing for the CVR team tour? Well, we can't know for sure, but we're bringing a team. A team which is ready to fight, a team which is ready to win.
Ready to fight and a team ready to win Draft. We saw so many tactics here. And we have Jesper with Greg Leo.
And some others?
And some others, yeah, we'll see. Jesper, over to you.
Greg, 4th place overall. You got the cap on, you got the glasses. You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I mean, podium would have been nice, but I had a great time in my first CVR, and I kind of feel bad about letting Joachim go on the crit, but man, he deserves it. He rode so hard, and man, what a climber. These 3 guys, Lionel, Scotty, Joachim, I feel like they're in another league. That was amazing.
Speaking of the crit, most people here know you from the e-crit that you did earlier this year. How does that rank compared to this?
This was a lot more endurance, right? That was just power, power, power. I have to say, I enjoyed both a lot. I don't want to compare them and say one was more fun than the other. I've had a blast at both.
And so speaking of power, you said to me you want to do an all-out sprint to see how many watts you can hit?
So yesterday Steve called me a worm.
He did.
I think someone was calling him a python or something. So right now we're going to see who is the more wriggly monster.
Okay, so without further ado, Greg, let's see just how many watts you can produce after finishing all 3 stages of the CVR World Cup. Fatigued, here he goes. Come on, Greg. Okay. So, Greg, they've got the big screen on there. We can see you sprinting now. He's ramping it up in the right gear. You ready? He's got the music in his ears as well, and here he goes. He is banging the left right. Come on, Greg, come on, come on. 1279. That's 22 watts per kilo from Greg Leo the Lion. Is that what you anticipated?
I was hoping for 1,300, but we got 22, almost 23 watts per kilo, right?
Now, next will be Steve Young, but before that, let's go back to the commentary desk.
Thank you very much. We're getting close to the end here. We will give you the result of this measuring contest, wattage measuring contest. I don't want to create any confusion here. If you're on Mixer, if you're on any one of these other Facebook, we got a great Facebook chat going on right now too. Make sure you click that like, click that follow, so we can notify you when this stuff goes live. And now we've got just a couple of folks to thank as we're getting ready to see what Steve Young can put out here. But we could not have done this without the work of Saris, who provides us Cyclops trainers, power tap pedals, and makes all of the data work properly between bike, athlete, and game. All of that also made possible by Cyclogen, who makes every part of the add-ons to these pieces. It is really super exciting. Okay, and of course Peaks Coaching Group for making that all possible. We've even got Red Bull out here today, which is just amazing. Okay, so as he gets ready to throw that power down, I'll throw that to Jesper in just a second. But I want to say thank you to everybody. Great conversations happening all over the place. You want to be a part of the next race. This is only half of what's happening today. These same 3 stages will happen for the women here momentarily. Stay tuned. Click that follow. So you think these racers were amazing? Here we go. He's doing it right now. So we'll throw back down to Jesper right now. We'll throw to Jesper and get some of those numbers from him.
Whoa. Yeah. Steve, so we just saw Greg do his. That was 12 something, 22 watts per kilo. Can you do it again without falling off the bike?
I've just done it, Jess.
Yeah, but no one saw it, so it didn't happen. So, Steve Young, innovation, get in the right gear, get ready. We just saw what you could do, but the world didn't, Steve. All the innovation guys out there watching you, come on. One more attempt, here he goes, come on. Greg Leo with him, James Phillips, come on, come on, come on. Here we go, how many watts can you produce? Oh, 1411, that's more than Greg Leo. Back to you, Chris.
And I don't think anybody is surprised. And now 2 nicknames have been added to the annals. We've got Greg the Worm Leo, and we've got Steve the Python Young. Okay, on behalf of everyone who made this possible today, Neil, Kim, Vanessa, Renee, we've got Rick, of course, doing so much work, and Tammy, Gwen, and Kayla making things happen on the end. Our production crew, of course, my colleague Beth, the executive producer, director Ron, technical director Kathy. We want to thank Sean, of course, Mike, Scott, Dan, and Rob, all who made the production happen today, from sound to cameras to editing. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. In a short time, the women are going to launch, and we're going to show you the second half. Another $10,000 is going to be given away, and the women's field, you thought this was crazy cool? The women will blow your mind. I can't wait to see you. I'm Chris Haskell, and this is CVR World Cup Vancouver. We'll see you pretty shortly.
We're on a journey, and we're going by bike. Bicycles set people free. It starts as kids when bikes set us free to explore the edges of our neighborhood. It continues into adulthood when weekend rides set our minds free from work and worry. It's the reason why still today bikes are at the heart of everything we do. Through our products, we propel bike lovers forward, be it in pursuit of personal enjoyment or peak performance. Through our business approach, we strengthen our community in Madison, Wisconsin, where we design and build the vast majority of our American-made products. Through our advocacy, we promote healthier, happier, bike-smart communities, both locally and nationally. We set out on this journey the day Sarah and Chris combined names to form Saris. So grab a bike and join us.
What is it about riding a bike that is so liberating? What unites us all is the craving for that special feeling. This is what inspired the developers at Garneau to create the innovative, award-winning X-Comfort technology, optimizing comfort to maximize performance and, most of all, the good feelings that make us so passionate about riding. The brand new X-Comfort Zone incorporates an elasticized zone that expands up to 5 millimeters to accommodate V through D+ foot widths. We all pedal in the same way. As you push down, your toes naturally splay. And the dynamic changes that happen inside your shoe as your feet contract and expand under pressure as you ride. The pressure and friction created as the outside of your foot expands over and over against your shoe can create serious and painful hot spots and irritations. The longer you ride, the worse it can become. This makes for a level of never-before-experienced comfort in the highest-performing cycling footwear. Every cyclist rides for that special feeling that cycling brings to us. Each one of us has our own version of what it means to enjoy the ride. We just help make it possible.
This is my oldest son, Chad. He was a great kid, but on March 14th, 2007, I went looking for him and found him, and he had decided to take his own life. He committed suicide. It took a lot of years before I wanted to say that. There was a stigma to it. I wasn't comfortable using that word. But in recent years, I've learned that we can stop this. We can save people's lives. As a youngster, and even as a teenager, I did see some signs. But I would say things like, he's going to grow out of it. It's no big deal. It's nothing. But it is something. We can save our loved ones if we try. So if you see anything like that at all, show people that you love them. Get them help.
Depression is complex. Don't think about it as having a single cause, but that it just is. This perspective alone can give you better ways to attack it. Realize that while you may see high-profile people in the news committing suicide, that seeking support is a better way to deal with depression and stress. Don't convince yourself that it's no big deal or that it will pass. Don't worry about what other people might think. Helping people who may be struggling, even if uncomfortable, is far better than regretting forever. Do something now. For more information on how to help someone or how to get help yourself, Google for depression resources in your area.